What is up, team? And welcome back to the Technical Fowl Podcast. As always, you're joined by the three of us. I'm Jack Anderson. To my right is JP Pusilowski, repping the Packers today. I'm shocked you're here, JP, and we started this early, considering you're missing your Tyler Shuck reps. Considering Rattler's been benched. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did not see that.
So
Yeah,
Tyler Shuck is in the
the
game,
car.
and Sanders is to my left.
Whoa.
Sanders Oakley.
Can we go live in 2 hours instead?
Yeah. We'll push back the live stream so you can get
I
that up
can-
and see how he's looking.
No, I'll pull it up myself.
Okay, I was gonna say I can put it on the third TV.
It's not
we
worth
have over
it.
there.
It's what's the score of that game? 20-3.
Well, I completely disagree.
Yeah, he doesn't care how what the score is. He wants to see his guy play.
Y'all just turned it over on downs. He's 4 for 9 right now, but obviously I don't know how he's looking. How's y'all's day been? I know yesterday was rough, or at least part of yesterday was. But how have y'all bounced back on this fine Sunday?
I think I'm getting sick. I think being out there in the cold and the rain, I've heard, I hear that I've never dealt with it because I feel like when you're a kid you just ignore the weather, but I think that being out there when it's slightly damp and wet, it's just easy to get a head cold.
Sure.
And I think I might be coming down with that, just stuffy, and also I can't hear well out of my right ear. I don't know if that's sick, cold related or cowbell related. Hopefully that goes away and I can hear properly again. Angle was great. It was a great start to the Saturday. A nice
Sure.
7:30 game. We finished up about the time we usually start, so that was weird. But no, that was a good game, a small game. For those of you who play angle ball and watch the show, for those of you that don't, it's just we're speaking in a different language, but
Just imagine you went and played a sport to start your Saturday, and it was a
ultimate.
fun
We
game.
went and played ultimate frisbee, but
You would
it's
enjoy
better than that. It was good start to the morning. It was, I guess, I had to be up early. I had to be up 6:30 2 mornings in a row, which my sleep schedule is usually 1 a.m., 2 a.m. to 9 a.m. So that was a big change up.
Sure.
So yeah, I was not running on a lot of sleep, and now every part of my body is sore because I had angle ball and then running around for 4 hours on the field holding a 30-pound camera. I don't know. It's heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm very tired and very sore now.
How are we doing, JP?
Doing great.
Bet I'm
Tyler
glad to hear
Shuck is in the game. Are you
it.
kidding?
You've got your wish, so
I didn't expect to get it today. To be point blank honest.
I didn't either. I figured they'd just give him a full week.
Yeah, I would too. But Rattler's been terrible today, and it's insane how quickly. I'll probably say this about 20 times today, how quickly a narrative can shift in 2 weeks. Spencer Rattler's not the problem. Spencer Rattler needs help. Other things need to be fixed. Rattler should be a long-term starter. He must have turned it over again, I'm sure, but he has 6 turnovers, I know for sure. The last 2 weeks, 6 turnovers, 2 today, 4 last week. And all of a sudden, Spencer Rattler, who's won 1 NFL game ever, he's 1-13, I now believe, is not the starter, and Tyler Shuck is. So we get to see that experiment, and now we get to figure out, is Tyler Shuck the long-term starter, or do we officially get to draft a quarterback in,
Sure.
Late April? So I am ecstatic about that.
I can't wait to be live with you as the Saints are drafting that quarterback.
That is going to be
reaction.
a heck of a show, especially if we're in the business of drafting a quarterback. I can't wait to see
Sure.
How that goes. That's still probably our best show we've ever had outside of, I don't know, last week's show was, or not last week, our last show,
Yeah.
Thursday
Thursday.
show
There we go.
was excellent. A lot of viewers, and we appreciate all of y'all tuning in on Sunday or on
course.
Thursday, and now on Sunday if you do. We appreciate you turning in again.
Would you, so just real quick, talking about Spencer Rattler before we get to the college football, just thinking long term, would you welcome him as a quality backup on the Saints or
Absolutely.
elsewhere? Okay, that's what I kind of figured. 'Cause that's kind of how I view him. But I can't say I've really tuned in any Saints
he
games this
still
year.
would be under contract for 2 years. And it's not like
Is
he
this only
isn't-
year 2 of him?
Yes, it's just year 2.
Wow.
So it's not like he's inefficient or anything like that. He's just not a long-term
Sure.
starter, and no backup is a long-term starter. Otherwise, they'd be a starter.
Yeah, valid.
I don't know. Geno Smith, Sam Darnold. Geno
yeah, but
Smith
they never became. Geno was a backup for a little bit, I guess, but they were also long-term starters at first for like multiple years. They were a long-term starter.
And I don't even think Sam Darnold falls under the long-term backup thing because he was not a backup for like.
He was a backup for 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, he was going to be a backup for the second year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's.
Down went
He
JJ.
meets the same mold of Geno Smith. I don't think that's quite the same.
Yeah.
Sure.
Um.
Well, shall we get into the show? Shall we
Yeah,
get to our top 25s and then move on and get into our weekly takeaways and in-game reviews and Technical Fowl Stock Market, all the good stuff we have for y'all on a Sunday. Shall we get into that?
Can't wait.
Yeah. We submit our top 25s on T25 Sports. We do it every week. We have friends that do it every week. It's really fun exercise to put your top 25s out there and see how different people vote differently and how they weigh different things, eye tests, stats, record. But we will start by revealing our top 25s. It's Sunday. These are our week 10 top 25s. Who would like to go first?
I can go first. I don't really care.
There you go. It's up there.
Cool.
I'll pull it up on the other screen too.
My top 5 do not change. 3 of the teams won, 2 were on a bye. Some impressive performances. Indiana blew out UCLA. A&M routed LSU on the road. Georgia didn't play. Ohio State didn't play. Alabama does squeak one out in South Carolina, but, after how well they've looked over the past 4 weeks, I'm fine with them having a lackluster performance. It doesn't really mean too much to me in that sense. Georgia Tech rises up to 6. They got a big win, and then the fact they're undefeated, at this point in the season, being undefeated does mean a lot. You got to give them props for that. They flip with Oregon. Oregon did win, but it wasn't the best performance against Wisconsin.
No.
Miami's at 8. Ole Miss up to 9. Big win on the road for them. Notre Dame sitting at 10. Vandy at 11. Texas Tech 12. BYU climbs up to 13. Virginia's at 14. Scary for Virginia back-to-back weeks. They're very much so on fraud watch, but they got the win, so they can stay right around the same spot. Louisville at 15, Tennessee 16, Cincinnati up to 17. Missouri's at 18, Houston's at 19. Texas sits at 20 after their big comeback win. Iowa jumps into the rankings at 21. They demolished Minnesota. Very, very impressive win. Mark Gronowski threw a touchdown pass. That's how you know it's a massive win for that program. Oklahoma drops only to 22. Just disappointing performance yet again. Memphis climbs back into the rankings after recently dropping out. They beat USF. James Madison stays put off of a bye. And then Navy finds their way into the rankings because they're also undefeated. So that's fine.
Cool. JP, you have thoughts?
Yeah, you're too high in the school up north.
Sure.
Which I'll reveal where I have them here in a second, but you're too high on them, as always. But I love the Houston repping. They deserve to be in here at 7-1.
Massive win.
Yes, like that is
Snapped a 10-game home winning streak for Arizona State.
that's what the stat I was trying to pull was that they'd won 10 in a row. They're down in Tempe, and that's a huge win for Connor Wiegman, and Willie Fritz, right? Head coach Willie Fritz of Houston. The Cougars are rolling. So I love getting them in there, and I think they fit well there at 19. I guess Missouri ranking. My question is that you just think team quality wise, because you're not necessarily a resume guy, or is that their resume up to this point, and maybe in the future they would of course drop out with another loss probably.
They drop out with another loss at this point though. It's like you went toe to toe on the road at Vandy, a team that I have top 11. Your QB goes down the game. You honestly probably are kicking yourself. You lost the game, which you still lost the game, so you don't really get too many brownie points for like, man, we probably should have won that game. But I didn't watch that game and go, man, Missouri's a much worse team than Vanderbilt. So
that's a fine take. I will have a different one.
Sure.
Virginia, did you consider dropping them at all? I don't think any of us did. But
I did. I was like, I'll give them one more week.
Okay.
And that probably is even a little too much grace. But you got one more week. They're on fraud watch.
If you don't know, Virginia survived overtime against North Carolina. Also a game in which North Carolina had the ball second, scored, and went for 2 and did not convert. Controversy on the conversion, too, as well. But Virginia escaped Bill Belichick and Chapel Hill with a win to continue their hopes going down the road. Would have been crazy. I might say phrases like this the entire day. Who would have thought that Virginia's first ACC loss was going to be North Carolina if that had happened?
Sure.
I don't think anyone would have thought that coming into the season.
Not at all.
Considering, and the NC State loss doesn't count, which is still
Yeah.
dumbfounding to me.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm sure that is going to be brought into the play and conversation a lot more going forward as Virginia gets closer and closer to the ACC championship game. But no other issues with your ballots, sir.
It's always a good start when you kick it off with the school up north is too high, because if that's your biggest gripe every week, that's just going to always be your biggest gripe with mine, or one of your gripes. So.
Yes.
All right, JP, you want to go next? Or you want me to go next?
I will go next. We'll always. I just like saving you for last. I also haven't had enough time to look at your ballot, so I want some time for that post me yapping. But me, this week I have Ohio State continuing to stay at number 1. I keep the same top 6 the same. I considered, like, for a brief moment, Indiana or A&M to move to 1, and I just thought, nah, I'm going to keep Ohio State where they're at, even off the bye with 2 good wins that Indiana and A&M had this weekend. So the top 6 stays the same. 7, 8, and 9 are new in Georgia Tech, Miami, and Vanderbilt because of OU's loss this weekend. And I had the School of North at number 10 in the country with an impressive road win, back-to-back weeks on the road. They respond again offensively against a great defense in OU, at least at this point. And maybe that's because OU hadn't played any great offense. ESPN did a great job recognizing that very early on in the broadcast. They said that the best offense that they'd faced was Michigan at that point in the season. So OU maybe hadn't been tested really at any point in the season, and Ole Miss kind of gave them everything that OU didn't want because they just kept scoring on them. And if they don't kick all those field goals, it's a blowout there in Oklahoma and Norman. Texas Tech stays at 11. I have BYU moving up to 12 after a really impressive win over Iowa State. They just continue to respond when they need to, and we'll get into that game in a little bit. I don't drop Virginia, but I was going to, had the teams above them not lost, those teams being OU specifically. But Virginia stays at 13, Notre Dame 14, Louisville 15, Tennessee 16, and I move Texas to 17 after a good, impressive come-from-behind victory last night here in Starkville. OU drops to 18 right behind them because Texas has beat them. They both have the same records right now. I'm going to have Texas ahead of Oklahoma for the foreseeable future. Cincinnati and James Madison, the Dukes, hop into the top 20. JMU's there at 20. And I have 5 teams that were formerly in the American. Now just one of those teams not in the American, and that's Houston, who's now in the Big 12, moving up to 21. And then I have Memphis, USF, North Texas, and Navy to close out my top 25. Any questions, gentlemen, or chat?
Sanders, anything from you?
No.
Okay. I like the American cluster. It's just pretty fun.
Yeah.
And you have them, in my opinion, ordered correctly. Just looking at head-to-heads and then also just quality of teams. The Drew Messmaker game threw for over 600 yards. Good performance from him. Kind of just a crazy story still. I don't really have any huge gripes. I have Missouri in my top 20. You don't have them ranked at all. So, but we've already talked about that.
Yeah. All right. What's up, Sven? Welcome in.
You are correct, Sven.
It was looking pretty dialed. I was thinking about that earlier today, Sven. I was like, oh man, he was right on it until Jeff Lebby went, and I don't know, MIA.
All right, time for the best part of the show. One of my least favorite parts. I have to sit here and try and defend myself, and I'm not great at it sometimes, but here we go. my top 25, Indiana is still at number 1. I move A&M up to number 2 after a dominant win in Death Valley, something I was not expecting, JP was not expecting. We both picked LSU to cover. I thought, like, worst case for LSU, they would win a close, low-scoring game because their defense would be good enough, but they got blown out. I didn't watch the end of that game. I was taking down a tailgate, but Jack recounting the way, like, that stadium emptied out and the way the A&M fans were celebrating with LSU recruits who were there, insane. Ohio State drops to 3 after that A&M win. Alabama drops a spot to 4. Georgia's still there at 5. So my top 5 are the same 5 teams, but they move around a little bit. Miami's at 6. Vanderbilt moves up to 7 after beating Missouri. Georgia Tech drops a couple to 8. Texas Tech at 9. Oregon still is there at 10. BYU at 11. Ole Miss at 12. Virginia at 13, Louisville at 14, Cincinnati at 15. These are a bunch of teams that all moved up because of the Oklahoma loss, and then I think I can't remember those. I think there's another team I had in my like teens that lost. I don't remember off the top of my head. Actually, I could look over here and see it. It'd be Missouri. Yeah, it was a Missouri loss. Tennessee at 17, Michigan at 18. Texas jumps from unranked to 19th after, as JP mentioned it, an impressive come from behind victory. I think they had we had a 97.6% chance to win, 98.6. It was up there as far as like the FPI or whatever it's called. So a very insane comeback that if you weren't a fan of Mississippi State, you would be like, wow, that's crazy. Oklahoma at 20. I accidentally, I was just filling out my ballot, trying to go through it. I also did this pretty quick, but I accidentally had Oklahoma and then Texas, and I went through and double-checked it. I was like, all right, how do I feel about this? And I was like, I need to fix that.
Dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, I dodged a huge bullet fixing that one. Missouri at 21, USC at 22. Houston, Memphis, and USF round out the top 25. So, y'all, JP is looking curious, as always. So do we want to start with you?
Does Oregon have a better resume than Ole Miss?
It's close. And like I always talk about, the Penn State win.
Is it close?
Depending on how you look at the Penn State win.
Yeah. It depends on how you view the Penn State win. But I think that they're close, in my opinion.
Okay, what about the losses for both teams? Let's look at the losses instead.
Oregon's losses to the number 1 team in the country, in my opinion. Ole Miss's losses to the number 5 team in the country.
Missing a key detail there.
True. Oregon's was at home. Ole Miss was on the road.
Very key detail.
Yeah, that is very relevant.
Even I don't even know about that, but Texas Tech's resume compared to an Oregon. Though I guess you have Houston, and Houston is ranked now, so that you go on the road and beat Houston, that's a quality win.
Yeah.
But even Ole Miss's win, in my opinion, and Oregon's best win, in my opinion, a lot better than Texas Tech's best win.
Yeah.
Now Texas Tech, they lose with their backup QB, so how do you factor that in? There's a lot of weird questions there. I also just want to ask, so scroll up to the top real quick. So you have Indiana 1, A&M 2, Ohio State 3, and I'm assuming you jump A&M over Ohio State and Alabama because the resume is better, right? Is A&M's resume not better than Indiana's?
No, I also looked at that one, and I don't think so. I can pull up. I can.
Indiana has a win over. Has 2 top 10 wins technically.
Yeah.
Illinois was technically number 9 in the country at that point. Big blowout win, and then the win over Oregon at Oregon,
and a win over Iowa at Iowa, who I didn't rank this week, but Jack did. So Iowa is trending up.
Sure.
They can't pass. Still, what are they at?
I don't
5
think that's
passing
that good of a
touchdowns.
win. No, I actually think Indiana has a slightly better resume than A&M, just slightly, because I do think A&M has played outside of the LSU game and the Notre Dame game pretty weak competition in the SEC.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Indiana's weak schedule in general, I think, is right there on par. So then I just think they have 2, honestly, one better win for sure, and then I think the Illinois win's better than the LSU win at that point in the season.
All right.
But I completely understand that. Still, though, Ohio State should be
Ohio State,
above both of those
sure,
teams.
Sure.
Without question.
No. You literally said earlier that it was within question because you considered putting both those teams ahead of Ohio State.
For like that long of a second.
Yeah, but I just think it's funny that you say earlier you considered it, and now it's without question, undoubtedly,
Because he considered
indisputably.
it and then was like, without question.
Yeah.
that
No,
he
but he
won.
questioned it. That's not
No. It's not questioning. It
okay.
was just like, no.
Sure. I
Okay.
mean, I asked, but I have Ohio State 1, Indiana 2,
Yeah.
A&M 3. But I also don't go solely off of resume. I also I'm interested to see. I mean, you only move Michigan up 2.
Yeah.
But, me and JP don't have Michigan ranked.
Yeah.
They've taken a couple losses.
Yeah.
But you have them at 18, and then also a team like USC sitting at 22. Neither me or JP have them ranked. So if you could just speak on those two teams, as to why you have them where you do.
Both of those teams are ranked. So they were ranked last week, and given how many teams I had lose, I struggled to really fill out the top 25. I wasn't happy with a lot of teams left, at 26 through 30. So that's why those teams kind of remained ranked. I am happier with they dropped or they moved up because Missouri lost
Sure.
or because other teams lost, and so that's why they moved up.
Cool. And then my only other thing is Texas jumps unranked to 19.
Yeah.
How impressive is really beating a winless team in the conference, barely on the road in overtime, to make them hop like
Right. I think I had them moving up to the 20, 21 range, but Oklahoma was right there, and I didn't feel comfortable having them behind Oklahoma. So they were right on the outside last week. Arizona State, LSU, Illinois all lose.
Sure.
So that's kind of an automatic, you're going to be in the top 25. Oklahoma loses. It's going to be close. Then I was like, well, I have to have Texas ahead of Oklahoma, and Missouri just lost, so I'm going to have those two ahead of Missouri.
Yeah. But just Houston beat a ranked team in your opinion last week. Texas jumps them. Memphis beat a ranked team last week in your opinion. Texas jumps them. And Texas's best win also gets worse by default. So
Yeah, but I mean Houston, this is very down the ladder, but Houston beat a team that we also beat, right?
sure.
They beat Arizona State, we beat Arizona State. So that's not head to head, but it is
It's definitely not.
No,
'Cause
A
also
equals B
We
equals
talked
C.
about how hard it is to beat Arizona State
Yeah,
at home,
yeah.
and Houston went and conquered that.
Yeah.
Do you want to address what Chromie's just said?
Texas beat State barely after they threw the game up many spots. A&M beats same team by 30 and drops. What? Texas beat State. I'm not understanding.
I think he's saying Texas barely beat State, and they were
Uh-huh.
on the road. A&M shuts down State in Kyle and dropped after that performance because Alabama jumped them after that.
Yeah, I think because Alabama played Alabama played what, Missouri that week in Missouri?
Yeah,
Or was that was Vanderbilt?
I think he's more just saying the State win is impressive enough for Texas to climb a bunch. But it's A&M beating them by almost 30 is not impressive, and so they dropped. So
Yeah,
they can't hold their ground.
I
I'm explaining his logic.
I know. Yeah. I also think that the top, it's tighter at the top, in my opinion. I feel like there's a lot more movement, a lot more, because so many teams have losses. It's a lot easier to argue about movement lower down. I think
Sure.
Up at the top, it's a lot tighter. The room for error is a lot narrower, and not that beating us soundly in your own stadium was an error, but it's just everything's a lot tighter up there.
Yeah. Well, A&M is now above Bama, so you've amended past mistakes. I have nothing else. We're chill.
All right, cool.
Shall we get into? I'm interested to see how long this segment lasts.
Is this going to be the weekly takeaways?
Oh yeah, we got weekly takeaways first. I jumped the gun.
Yeah, if Sanders doesn't talk, then it won't be.
Did I say that to
Terribly
you,
long.
or did you see my tweet?
You saw it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or I saw it on
Sanders
Twitter.
got to talk.
I think I'm going to talk. I just don't know what I'm going to say
as,
yet.
as the
'Cause I-
semi
yeah, we'll get into that later.
unofficial moderator, I'm asking you some questions about how you feel. But we're getting into that
Make them
game
all
later.
yes or no questions. No, I'm kidding. Let's get into the weekly takeaways.
From y'all, before I start with kind of mine, any big weekly takeaways?
Everyone's kind of shocked that Indiana blows out UCLA, I think people kind of thought that'd be a more competitive game.
Spread was 23.5 for a reason.
It was 23.5, but still they won by 50.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's not the first time they've won by half 100. They defeated Illinois by 53. So this is a team that when they play far less superior competition, they are just guns blazing. Besides the Iowa game,
Yeah.
and the Old Dominion game to start the year. But when they play elite competition, they go out there and compete, and they go out there and get a big win at Oregon. So I think this team has kind of just solidified themselves as a team.
Sure.
Like Omar Cooper only had 2 catches in that game. He still put up 56 points. He had been one of your elite threats all year. So I think that one was kind of really shocking to some people. Let me see.
I mean, they
got 11 votes for number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
From the AP this week.
And that's twice now they've made a Big Ten opponent. They've put up an FCS box score. I'm not going to discredit Illinois by saying they look like an FCS team because you got mad last time I said that. But that's twice they put up a box score like they were playing an FCS opponent.
That nearly doubles the amount of first place votes. Last week they had 6.
Yeah.
So that was really shocking to see that result. I think people thought that'd be a lot closer of a game.
I thought it was funny. People are also pointing out that a lot of the graphics for the loss now have the head coach or the interim head coach,
Yes,
as
Skipper.
opposed to the offensive coordinator,
Sure.
which is what all the graphics showed when they won the games. So very unfortunate to be the interim head coach and only have your face associated with the loss.
Bama survives Cocktober.
Yeah.
You watched most of that game, so you can kind of
Sure.
key us in on what happened there.
Just kind of an ugly offensive performance. I'll start there for Alabama. I don't think play calling was necessarily great. Ty Simpson was missing some throws, which has been uncharacteristic of him. But they got it going late. They're down 8. They drive, score, 2-point conversion. And then you get the fumble. South Carolina just kind of gives you the game. And then Jerome Bernard goes and scores. And they just kind of struggled defensively with Lenore Sellers. I think he had over 100 rushing yards.
He had
Maybe not quite that many.
He had 70, but that
Okay.
might. I don't
he
know
had
if that,
80 something
Good
in the
save,
second.
Sanders.
He had 80 something in the second half.
Oh, I wasn't. That was intentional. He has 6 and then another number, but I just rounded up to 70 without
Cool,
thinking.
cool.
So it's becoming
Smart.
instinctual to avoid it.
That's well done.
Let me frame that as I watched mainly second half. He had
Yeah.
like 80 rushing yards second half, was doing his thing. Bama also got screwed because they had some guy trying to block on a punt, and the punter just gets shoved in the back into the ball, and South Carolina recovers it. There's stuff like that. Bama does get a big pick six.
Wait, what happened?
So
Bama got
Bama's trying to
screwed?
field the punt.
Yeah.
Someone's running down,
Oh.
and a gunner just pushes him in the back into the football,
Oh.
and then South Carolina jumps on it.
Okay. Cool.
But just an ugly game. But it is Cocktober. Feel bad for South Carolina because it's a close game. All the students are filing down to the front of the student section just to lose, and you don't get a rush to the field.
That's a really easy section to rush from too, because they
Correct.
just got to get over that little hedge.
Yep.
And then they're there because they have the entire end zone to themselves. Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, it hurt a little bit. I don't know. It was not Alabama's greatest performance, but they have kind of just become the team that wins games and does just enough to win games.
Is that the most? Simpson threw the ball 43 times. Is that the most he's thrown in a game?
Maybe he's slung it around in some games. He's put up other bigger numbers before,
Did
or
he
not
throw
bigger,
more
but
than that in the Florida State game?
he probably did because they were playing from
He threw the
behind.
same exact amount in the Florida State
Okay,
game, and that
okay.
is tied for the highest amount he's thrown in a game.
Yeah.
But Jack is right. He threw 38 times against Georgia,
Yeah.
so not the first time.
Yeah, they've put a lot on his shoulders, and he's largely delivered.
Doesn't throw an interception, which, as we've seen, we joke about Justin Herbert or his interceptions. It's pretty normal that when you ask a quarterback to throw the rock that much, like even a great quarterback or a good quarterback, is just going to turn it over due to the high volume. But
Yeah.
no turnovers, no interceptions, 2 touchdowns.
Do you think for you that, and this can kind of segue into another conversation, do you think that hindered his Heisman chances whatsoever, his performance on Saturday?
Somehow, yes. It doesn't really change my opinion of him, especially in the Heisman race because it was one game.
Mhm.
But I've seen a lot of lists, like people will drop their Heisman power rankings on Twitter, and he's now like 5th for people, or 4th for people, or not on the list for people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Mendoza
I don't know.
cooks, and then we can kind of talk about your team, and let's just talk about just your quarterback.
Yeah.
Marcel Reed has a solid performance
Sure.
on the road in Death Valley.
At the very least, even if there's the 2 picks and maybe it wasn't statistically the greatest game, but it gets his name out there in a different light.
Yeah.
That not everyone has necessarily heard his name or
Reed.
seen him as.
And then
kinda
he had
that
the long
guy.
touchdown that was
Correct.
potential
yeah.
Heisman moment. I mean,
Agreed.
not really because it wasn't I feel like Heisman moments typically in games that are close where you won it.
But I
it
mean,
was
it
still
kicks off
very
the game at 0-0.
Yeah.
He rips it off.
Yeah.
That's going to be part of his tape.
Yeah.
If he were to win the Heisman, not the 2 picks he threw.
100%.
The Mendoza's now the current favorite. Simpson is second. Julian Sayin third. Marcel Reed fourth. They're all kind of in the same pack. Then there's a drop off, and it's Diego Pavia and Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah, which Pavia got a lot of love this weekend. Or, honestly, not love. He got asked if he should win the Heisman. I don't want to put words in his mouth, so I don't remember if he got asked if he should win the Heisman or if he should go to New York. And he basically was like, "Yeah, I think I should."
Yeah.
And then people were like, "Bro, you had a terrible game. What do you say?" And it's like, okay, well, in his defense, what do you want him to say when someone asks him that?
Yeah.
No, I don't really want to win the Heisman. It's like, all right, bro. No one's
don't
going
want
to
it
say
enough.
that. So,
No. Yeah.
but it, just make of that what you will, I guess.
Other takeaways?
I just want to point out the Arkansas-Auburn game because Jackson Arnold throws the pick 6, and then he gets benched, and the backup comes in, and I'm doing air quotes for people just listening, leads Auburn to a win.
Mm-hmm.
But this is Arkansas, how the fourth quarter goes, right? So Arkansas is winning. Auburn kicks a field goal. Taylor Green picks 6. All of a sudden, Auburn's up 3. And it's like, okay, no big deal. It's only 3. You have a good offense, just go score.
Yeah.
Arkansas fumbles. Auburn kicks another field goal. Okay, still a one-possession game. Good hold defense. Taylor Green throws another interception. Auburn goes and kicks a field goal. Now it's 9 late. There's really not much time. And then just to cap it off, Taylor Green throws another interception, and then Auburn kneels it out. And suddenly you lose that game. And that one felt like one that Arkansas and Bobby P really needed, especially if Bobby P is trying to make a case for the job. But Hugh Freeze gets a win finally. So I guess I'm not going to shout out Hugh Freeze. I'll never shout out Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
But I guess shout out Hugh Freeze's attempt to save his job, I guess, because you
saved it for a
needed
week.
this one.
He saved it for a week, and they host Kentucky next week, so he may save it for a second week. And that was that's kind of the win that'll change everything. They have the Kentucky game, and then they still play Mercer. They're at Vandy and at Alabama for the Iron Bowl, or they host Alabama for the Iron Bowl. Sorry, but they should be 6-5 come Iron Bowl. And so he's already bowl eligible, which is...
He can spin it as an improvement because it is an improvement off of previous years.
Yeah, last year they were 6, and then the other number, one more than 6, losing in the bowl game. But he might be able to swing it in some way. The 2 quarterbacks was not surprising. I think it was, for me, just more surprising that Arnold got benched. I just thought we were going to see the 2 quarterbacks play in different capacities. Arnold throws the pick 6, he has to be benched kind of deal. And Ashton Daniels comes in over the freshman Deuce Knight, which there's been a lot of buzz about Deuce Knight potentially getting some run at some point. But yeah, Freeze saves his job. The way, for Arkansas to lose that game that way in the fourth quarter, terrible. Obviously, it doesn't help Petrino. It helps, I think, maybe it helps a State fan feel better about next week.
It may be hard for Arkansas to get up for a game after that loss.
Yeah, it's much. I think it for me, and I'll make this take in a little bit, but it just helps seeing that result the week before you go play that team versus the result last week against A&M where they were really competitive and backdoor cover in that game. But yeah, Freeze keeps his job for now. I'd still fire him. I think you have to move on. The entire fan base wants John Sumrall at this point. That is who they want from Tulane. And I'd be surprised if they didn't get him.
I was going to say, I'm actually shocked that that's their route. That's the most realistic of fan bases being in terms of a coaching search right now. That they're not being we want Lane. What do you mean our job's not better than
that
than
definitely
Florida?
surprised me. That surprises me too as well that they aren't in any kind of run for Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Because
Especially
I'm-
given. Go ahead.
I know that fan base because I know a lot of students that went there from high school, and I also the Atlanta area is a big Auburn fan base as well. They for sure think they have a better job there than they do in Oxford. I can tell you that much. And having now experienced what Oxford is like being at state here these last 4 to 5 years, I think they're about on the same level. Lane Kiffin has at least made it on the same level, and with the turmoil that Auburn has had down there on the plains the last, half decade, they're now on level. But I know Auburn fans would surely feel that that's a better job.
Yeah.
Sanders, you were going to
It's
say?
also, I feel like, didn't he say in the documentary that he was gonna go there?
Yeah.
So they had him, and then his daughter asked him, "Hey, I want to finish out school here." So it's kind of crazy that I don't know. That's just that surprises me.
That had to crush Auburn fans.
But
to
no,
hear
that's
that.
my point. Is why are they not now saying, "Well, let's go get him part 2"? Because
different jobs are open.
I guess, but
I agree. I'm also surprised because
if
one
you-
thing we know about
yeah.
fan bases, they're not rational.
Yeah, I'm just if you know that you almost had him a couple of years ago, and now the thing that kept him there is about to graduate. His daughter is not going to be there. Why are you not saying, "Well, let's try again this time without that"? I don't know. That's very reasonable. Very reasonable of them to be like, John Summerall's our guy.
I think that's just what the fan base is more so
Sure.
saying.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know if the higher ups
the
are saying
booster,
that.
the boosters, or
which is
whoever.
what matters at the end of the day. That's the people who are making the decision, as we clearly saw a year and a half ago with the Aggies in A&M after Stoops is hired, and then all of a sudden that is clearly turned around.
Best
Yeah.
thing we've ever done as a fan base, man.
Man, what a life that would have been.
Yeah.
What a difference that is now with Mike Elko, 8-0
Yep.
for the Aggies. We'll get into that game in a little bit. And then you were bringing this game up.
Yeah,
What
I was gonna, USF Memphis
Yeah.
just because now that G5 is in complete turmoil.
Yeah.
As Brandon said in the chat earlier, I wish I could find odds of just directly.
I can give you odds for each individual team.
Yeah, I think the team that has the best odds right now is Tulane. That's as far as I can find. To make it, they're plus 250, and all the other teams are in the plus 300 area.
Who's the highest outside of the AAC?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Oh wait, that's Big
It's
12.
James
Outside
Madison.
of the AAC,
Yeah.
James Madison at plus 880.
was that?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Man, I wish they beat Louisville.
They have
yeah.
higher odds than San Diego State and Boise
Yep.
State
Gotcha.
and UNLV.
Yeah,
I
you
might
got
add.
to toss in UNLV.
Yeah.
But no, the odds right now for Group of 5 is Tulane, then it's South Florida, and then it's North Texas, then it's Memphis, and then it's Navy, with James Madison having slightly better odds than Navy.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So realistically, the AAC is cannibalizing itself.
Yeah.
At least at the top. But even with that, it seems like the sports books don't expect that to be enough to make it not an American team.
Yeah, and the standings wise, so Navy is 5-0 in conference play, Tulane is 3-0, and then you have those other 3 American teams in Memphis, South Florida, and North Texas at 3-1. Memphis has the one loss to UAB.
Don't forget Temple. Don't leave out Temple.
I'm going to leave them out. Memphis has the loss to UAB, which ultimately is actually going to help them if
'Cause
they
the
continue to
head-to-head
win
won't
out, because
matter.
the head-to-head won't
Yeah.
matter. While South Florida has now the loss to Memphis, and South Florida has the win over North Texas. So that kind of bumps them down. And now Navy and North Texas will play, so maybe North Texas can get the head-to-head over Navy. And again, to piggyback off Brandon and what Sanders was saying, it may come down to chaos, to some weird tiebreaker
Yeah.
in the American that sends 2 teams to the conference championship game, and then we have our winner declared there. So chaos is down the line, and James Madison needs chaos, and as James Madison fans, we want chaos as well.
Correct. And they need to win every game by 50.
This is true.
It would be really cool. You kind of touched on it. But if that conference championship game actually matters so much, because it basically is all right, whoever wins this makes it.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I need that, or I need a JMU somehow sneak in type performance.
At JMU, again, their only loss is at Louisville, 28-14, and if Louisville keeps winning, which they'll need that as well, that's a pretty darn good loss for James Madison and the Dukes. That's who I want personally, or USF. I would like to see Byron Brown play against a Big Ten or SEC team on the road.
Sure.
For a second time.
For a second time, like he did against Alabama 2 years ago, and see how that goes. For a second time this season as well. They played at Miami earlier this year. But that kind of, I think, does that conclude our weekly takeaways? You want to talk about one more?
Houston and Arizona State?
We can give Houston some run time here.
Let's do that. And then that was the last one I had.
Yeah, that's the last one we've got.
Take it away, JP.
The Cougars, Connor Weigman gets a big win over Arizona State. Like we were talking about earlier, Arizona State has won 10 games in a row at home. Sam Levitt is really inefficient in this game. He's 18 for 35. Weigman is efficient. He's 17 for 22. Jeff Sims gets a lot of run in this game. He's 6 for 11 for 58 yards. Both of those quarterbacks throw touchdowns. For another week, it's Arizona State and their inability to run the football. And that's been kind of depressing with how poorly they've run the football in Big 12 play. They didn't have Jordan Tyson, so you would expect them to rely on that. Texas Tech ran all over Houston for the most part, and Arizona State doesn't even top 100 rushing yards, just 98 and 11 for 64 out of Raleek Brown. Weigman leads the team in rushing and passing.
How many carries do you think Weigman had?
Yeah.
How many? So he had 22 pass attempts.
Yeah.
He led the team in rushing.
I'm going to say
Rushing yards, that is.
26.
21.
21.
He did
also led the team in carries.
He did his best Haynes King impression.
Yeah.
As both former Aggie quarterbacks, which I would like to point out, which this doesn't matter at all. It's just a number I like to keep ticking up. Houston, Georgia Tech, A&M. Two former A&M quarterbacks, A&M quarterback. They're like 28-1 combined. QBU, baby. But it's a huge win for Houston, and also they had a little something extra to play for. Their strength and conditioning coach, Kurt Hester, passed away yesterday. Was battling stage 4 melanoma, has been for 8 months, but has been with the team through part of the season. Has kept working. Hasn't really blinked in the face of that. Fought it hard. Obviously, he couldn't win. He passed away yesterday, but the team apparently got word of that about around 11. And so wanted to go get that win for him, and they did so. So that's
awesome.
pretty cool.
That's an incredible story. Houston, I think their win total was either 5.5 or 4.5. I think it was actually 4.5. Crushed that, of course. They're 7-1, and they have 4 games left. None of those teams are going to be ranked. Hosting West Virginia at UCF, and Scott Frost, that should be a win. West Virginia should be a win. They host TCU, and then they're at Baylor, and those are their final 2 games to end the season. So they are looking to be a team to potentially be at play in the Big 12 and making the Big 12 championship game, which will be pretty much a guaranteed automatic bid to the playoff. It will be a guaranteed automatic bid.
JP, can you find preseason the Big 12 odds?
Yeah, I can pull that up.
It's crazy because right now 1, 2, 3 is BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and then
they all had to have been bottom half.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I believe Cincinnati and Houston were bottom 4 teams. They were down there. I feel like.
I remember last year, Arizona State had the second worst odds to win the Big 12. This year, Cincinnati was 2,200. They were the sixth worst odds. Houston had the 4th worst odds at plus 3,000. I don't know what the odds for Arizona State were. I think Arizona State had higher odds than that, of course.
Sure.
But 4th worst odds in the conference to win it, and here they are at 7-1 with 1 loss in conference play.
The BYU was around the halfway mark of the conference. I think it really speaks to how much. This is not the only reason teams are playing well, but how much QB play matters in that conference. Because Brennan Sorsby's been a revelation this year, has improved so much. Houston brings in Connor Weigman, getting it done through the air and on the ground, and then the biggest issue with BYU is their QB play is probably going to take a big step back. They lose Retzloff because of kind of the drama. And then it's who you're going to start ends up being a true freshman that has played great and leading them to win after win. And so it's the most important position in football, and especially in that conference, it just really matters a lot.
It was something that we talked about a ton in the Big 12 preview, that we thought quarterback play was going to tell the difference. That's why I picked Kansas State to win the conference, because I thought Avery Johnson was going to be the best quarterback in the conference.
Hey,
boo on that.
they've at least kind of shaken the Ireland curse. They're up to 500.
Yes.
So congrats to
An
them.
impressive move. And for BYU, I had 3 quarterbacks that potentially could start that I listed coming into the year. And Bear Bachmeier actually had 3rd on the list, the true freshman, and he starts, and now they are 8-0. And BYU, they're up to 11 or 10 in the country right now, and undefeated in Big 12, and of course undefeated overall.
They're 10.
I think we've talked about this before, Sanders. But there's 3 Bachmeier brothers. Do you know their names?
No.
So it's Bear, Tiger, and then you just throw out a guess for the 3rd quarterback's name.
Cougar. Can you imagine? Jaguar would be so sick.
I have no idea.
Hank.
Naturally.
Yeah, I mean that's
'Cause of
that's,
course.
Named
that's
after
the
his
progression.
grandfather, probably.
Hank started at BYU.
You said it was
Boise
Bear.
State for a couple
Who's
years.
Tiger?
Tiger.
They named their child Tiger. Is
Yeah.
that? There's no way that's what it says on the birth certificate. That's
Probably
definitely
not.
like a. They named the first one Bear, and then Harry was growing up and was like, he's
Hank.
Bear. No. The second one named Harry was like, dang, his name's way cooler than mine. I'm gonna go by Tiger.
Sure.
And then the third one is just secure in himself, and he's like, I don't care if my name's Hank. I'm just gonna go.
He's the oldest, I believe.
Oh, he's the oldest.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
okay.
he's already concluded his college
Okay,
career.
I kind of assumed
Or
that you went like an age order.
He may
but-
be taking like a 6 year at Wake Forest right now, but I think that was last year.
Okay, crazy family, I guess.
me and Chromie in the chat actually had major stocks in Hank Bachmeier, his first little run at
Was he a
Boise
basketball
State,
player?
and then it got to the point
Football.
where it was like, okay, you just got to play Taylor Green over him.
Oh, football. Okay,
Yeah,
I do recognize the name.
good
But,
times.
Yeah, that's crazy. We can get into potentially the most. I don't know. Just go.
The most
I'll kick
what?
us off.
I don't know.
This preview could have started so differently. As Mississippi State is up 3 scores in the fourth quarter, early in the fourth quarter. But Texas storms all the way back, scores 24 fourth quarter points, and they win in overtime 45-38. Stunning the home crowd of Mississippi State, crushing the home crowd of Mississippi State. And it was very fitting that as the game ended and people started to leave, the rain picked up. Just really fit
Agreed.
the mood.
Felt that.
Great comeback from Texas. Arch played some of his best football of the season, but an unreal collapse from Mississippi State at the same time. Sanders, your thoughts on the game as you were on the field running around with your camera?
I don't know. I mean, literally, when I said earlier I didn't know if I was going to talk on the show, that was like 75% joking, but 25% sincere because I don't know what to think about the game or what to say about the game, other than like every State fan is feeling like how much it hurts and it sucks, and trying to figure out like, well, what do you do going forward? Actually, one of our listeners texted me and he said that was awful. Like, where do you go from here? And I texted back, Fayetteville, which like I told him, I was like, I'm mostly joking, or I'm partly joking, but mostly sincere in that there is nothing that we can do right now that is going to fix this. Firing Jeff Lebby is not going to make us play better throughout the rest of the season. I don't think. I mean, maybe you get some sort of lucky or like Virginia Tech resurgence where the team just plays better under an interim, but I don't expect that. Firing Jeff Lebby is not the move. Benching Blake Shapen for Kamario Taylor would be a mistake. I'm very excited to see Kamario Taylor play, but he came in and threw a pass that could have been an interception and shouldn't have been a touchdown, and we got lucky. And like, you're going to tell me that he's going to be a better passer than Blake Shapen?
Strategic bounce, honestly.
Yeah.
He read
off the
the
wall.
angle
Yeah.
off the hand of the defender.
I'm very excited for the future of Kamario Taylor, but he's not going to win you more games than Blake Shapen. And to the people who are like, well, we're not going to win any games anyway, so like if you're going to lose, I'd rather lose with Kamario starting than Blake starting. I just disagree with that. There are still 4 games on the schedule that are winnable, and that's 4 out of 4 games. The Georgia game, what, you say 3?
Yeah.
Which one do you think is not winnable?
Georgia.
I disagree. I think it's winnable. It's at home.
I mean, every game's
As bad
winnable.
as our
Every
offensive
game's
line has
winnable
looked, their pass rush might be worse. Like, their pass rush is not good.
I mean, every game is winnable until the clock hits 0 at the end.
Yeah.
But I don't really know how I feel about that one being winnable.
Yeah. It just, yeah. I'm not going to, we'll do that when we get to our Mississippi State preview. But
Honestly, my biggest thing is, like, for me, and I'm not a State fan, so I'm going to throw this out here, and then I'll let y'all keep going. The performance that the coaching staff put on in the fourth quarter, I don't trust this team to win a game until they break through and finally win a game. Like, I don't really care who they're playing in the SEC. It could be Kentucky rolling into town. And, like, I'm not going to have belief that you're going to go win a game until you go win the game. That's where I'm at.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'll get into that. That's the large point, or large part of my point. Continue,
What
Sanders.
in the fourth quarter convinced you that the coaching staff...
I'll get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that this is just, we'll get into like the X's and O's of the game and how it all fell apart. I'm sure JP will hit that very well, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
But
I've got a good list.
yeah, I think that right now that State fans and are just kind of feel like it's hopeless, and I don't think it is. I think that eventually it's going to get better. I'm concerned. I don't want the State fans to fall into like a state of like complacency or feeling like they're just going to go through the motions for the rest of the season, which is where I'm kind of just like, well, like it's tough. I don't really know what else to say. Levy's not going to get fired this year. I don't think he should get fired this year, and you just got to kind of just keep going. I don't know. There's nothing like hopeful, I feel like, to take away from that game. JP, you might disagree. With that being said, can you get into your takeaways and your thoughts, and then also like the game breakdown?
I don't disagree with you feeling there's nothing hopeful to take away, but I'll get into that. So I was at the game, obviously, and I'm just going to go through mistakes that were made by Mississippi State. I've got them split into two categories. So there's two avenues at least to go down, which I think both have great validity. But to choke a lead like that, a 3-score lead like that, a lot of things have to happen. And it's not just when you start choking the lead. It's also before that as well. So I'll start with team mistakes. These are mistakes that players made, our team made, that I don't think impacts coaching or is not impacted by coaching. And I think you could fully peg on players let us down here. Blocked field goal in the first. Kyle Ferry's field goal gets blocked pretty much easily. That's 3 points off the board right there. 3rd and 6, post our turnover on downs, which I thought was a Levy mistake, but I'll get into that. We have the personal foul, which Jack can explain more because he watched the broadcast. For falling down was what I heard in our chat on the field goal, and they get the automatic first down. What was the explanation there?
I must have missed it because I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Which
Was it third? You said it was falling. Who fell down?
Oh, I do.
On
I
the
do,
field
'cause
goal
I
attempt.
was the one that literally said he just fell down.
Yeah.
So they called it a block below the waist.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't 3rd and 6, was it?
It was fourth down
Fourth
because of
and-
the
fourth
field
down.
goal. But
Yeah.
Fourth down.
Yeah.
4th and 6.
They called an illegal block below the waist. And to me on the broadcast, I will say they never really gave us a close look at it. But it just kind of looks like the State player slips and just falls forward. And then because he's falling, he like kind of hits the Texas player low, and they called the flag.
Yeah.
But they didn't even point. The broadcast never pointed out who it was. Like, well, I think they called the number of who it was supposed to be on, but I couldn't tell if the guy falling was that number. So maybe it wasn't even that guy. But that was the only thing I saw on the play that could have even been like called as a block below the waist. But that penalty definitely hurt.
Yep. I pegged that on player, even if it was a bad call or whatever. That's on player, not on coaching.
You fall down and you do kind of hit the guy low. It's like that's not a block, but you. Okay.
They get the automatic first down. They go and score a touchdown off of that because of that. Post us turning it over on down. 2nd and goal from the 5. Post Arch Manning's pick by Kelly Jones. We take a sack on 2nd and goal from the 5. Blake Shapen does. Puts us back. We have to kick a field goal. 3rd and 10. We're up 31-14. This is in the second half. We give a 62-yard deep shot to Ryan Wingo. Obviously, the deepest pass Arch through the entire night on a coverage bust. And they're inside, goal-to-go range very quickly on a 3rd and 10. 4th and 1. 38-21. We're up. 11 minutes to go. Arch overthrows a receiver after running for his life to the right. We don't have to touch Arch, but we do. Roughing the passer. It extends the drive. It extends the game. A lot of people feel this is the key moment in the game. That's what lost us the game. That's what continued to allow them to go on the run. There's a lot more moments. I don't necessarily disagree. Very critical moment. We would have had the ball in Texas territory. There's just no reason to hit Arch. He was already running for his life. He was never going to throw a pass accurately there. Roughing the passer, it extends the drive. Of course, Texas goes down and scores a touchdown. Now it's 38-28. We have the ball. This is the first of our 2 3-and-outs in critical moments. 2 straight sacks on 2nd and 3rd down. Those are not coaching. That's poor offensive line play. That maybe it's poor play calling, I guess. But that's just poor offensive line play because we had been getting so much through the air. We were going to pass the football anyway. 2 straight sacks, 2nd and 3rd down. Another team mistake. 38-31. Ethan Pulliam doesn't punt the ball out of bounds. You could argue maybe this is coaching that we should have told him. I'll get into more of this play in a second, which I thought fell on Levy, but it gives their special teams a chance. Of course, the rest is history. They score another touchdown on a punt return. 38 all. 1 second left on the clock. They've got the ball on the 1 yard line. We know they're tush pushing. We can't get any kind of push whatsoever. Arch just cleanly falls forward in a play where maybe we could have forced a safety. Maybe we could have forced a fumble. It doesn't even feel like we tried. We kind of gave up. We're just on to overtime at that point. That's team for me. In overtime, these are the last 2 team mistakes. Blake Shapen misses Brennan Thompson wide open on a slant. He probably would have scored. He misses behind him.
He would have scored.
He would have scored.
I was standing in the end zone.
On the first snap of overtime, he misses behind him. Not as bad as Bo Nix missed behind to start the Broncos-Cowboys game today, but pretty far behind Brennan Thompson. He misses. Maybe he didn't have a window there, but it's a miss regardless. 2nd and 10, we go deep to Thompson. Miss. Pressured immediately on 3rd down. Our offensive line doesn't hold up, and he barely gets the throw out of his hand. But then the team mistakes here. 2 straight false starts at home in the most critical play of the game at that point. 4th and 10, 4th and 20, sack, fumble, ball game. Those are the team mistakes. Any comments before I get into Levy mistakes, which is about as long, if not longer?
No, I'll probably have comments at the end, but I mean, well, actually, I guess I do have comments. You mentioned the team kind of felt like they gave up on the push play. I agree, and it felt like in overtime they kind of gave up as well. Like
sure.
It wasn't really there.
I understand.
They felt shell shocked at that point.
Yeah, as everyone in the stadium did.
100%.
These are the Levy mistakes, and these are for all the people that want to fire Levy. If you want to fire Levy, you use all of these plays against him, and I completely understand. But I'll get into a larger point post these mistakes. 7-7 in the first quarter. Texas's last 3 drives were 10 plays for 2 yards. The last 3 drives offensively were 10 plays for 2 yards. Levy, post the game, said, I liked what we had on 3rd down. We just didn't execute the blocking. We had handed the ball off to Devon Booth from the shotgun, didn't execute the blocking. He kind of lost a yard, gained a yard. It's in between. They go no tempo, no huddle. We go tempo. Run the same play again, he said. Stopped immediately on 4th down because obviously we're running tempo. We're just going to hand the ball off. That's been what Levy has done in those situations. That's what he's done for 2 years. You think Sark and that defense is not going to know we're just going to hand the ball off when we go tempo like that in a short yardage gain where there's no wrinkle out of that. There's no throw it to a guy just out there on the flat when you have numbers advantage. We just hand the ball off. Stopped on 4th down. Texas gets the ball on our 37. Again, after the last 3 drives were 10 plays for 2 yards. They, of course, go down, make the field goal. We have the personal foul. They score a touchdown. You give an offense that had been struggling the entire day outside of the first drive, free 7 points essentially because of a coaching mistake, because it's the play that he called. 4th and 2 from the Texas 48. This is in the second half. We lead 24-14. For, again, no reason. The defense is cooking. Still, it's 24-14. We've only given up the 7 points on the touchdown that you gave up based off of your mistake. We are sacked on 4th and 2. Texas gets the ball in our territory. Texas doesn't score on that drive. But still, it's a huge momentum play. You could have pinned him deep inside the 10 with the way Ethan had been punting that entire day. Maybe you get the ball again from the same spot with 1st and 10. Another Levy mistake, 38-28. Our ball, a complete failure, which I highlighted it in our group chat, but we failed to burn 40 seconds of clock because we running our tempo at that point in the game. At that point in the game, I think you just slow it down and run clock. I think you just run the football. But no, we failed to do that. We go 3 and out. We failed to burn 40 seconds off the clock, which would have made a huge difference. 38-31. Again, we failed to burn 10 to 15 seconds of clock. We'd manage. I will give credit here to Levy. This is a credit to him. We managed to hit Brendan Thompson on the slant. It's 3rd and 1. Levy allows the play clock to go all the way down, and we call the timeout. Okay, it's 3rd and 1. Let's get our best play. He brings in Camario Taylor. We run quarterback sweep. We don't convert, but I'm fine with it because he ran what he thought was his best play in that moment. He allowed all the clock he could burn down. He called the timeout. Again, he allowed all the clock he could. He called the timeout, and he got it into his best play. Remember that. 38-31. This is post Camario's miss on 4th and 1. Levy is walking up to the ref. This is literally the play after that. Telling the punt team to wait. He's holding his hand out like this. Our long snapper never knows. Ethan Pulliam never knows. There's never any acknowledgement from them. I watched it firsthand. He is holding out, saying, okay, we're going to run the clock down because we had ran the football. Sark didn't call timeout. We can run more clock. He wants to call timeout. He clearly does. He's standing next to the ref. He doesn't. We snap the football. We punt it. It doesn't go out of bounds. The rest is history. 38 all. 3rd and 6. 38-38. We have 30 seconds left. Levy is walking up to the ref. 3rd and 6. Remember this. 3rd and 6. He wants to call timeout again. He doesn't. We're sacked. We don't get into our best play. 3rd and 6. 30 seconds left. Tie game. We're at midfield, essentially. After the teaching moment and the learning moment you just had last week where play calling mattered, you don't call timeout to get into your best play. We're sacked. Immediately following the sack, he calls timeout. Immediately following the sack. 13 seconds left. On 4th down from midfield. It continues. Immediately following the timeout. We bring the offense out on 4th and 14. Oh, we're going to try and draw them offside and call a timeout. You can't call 2 timeouts in a row. You can't call 2 timeouts in a row. Levy walks up to the ref as he's going to call a timeout. He has a conversation with the ref. The ref says, you can't call timeout. That's what I guess he would have said. We take a delay of game from midfield. Of course, forcing us to punt now. We can't punt it into the end zone. We can't really play the punting up the sideline game well. So we're probably going to have to punt the ball in the field, or we're going to have to punt it directly out of bounds. We punt it down to the 1. Sark makes a stupid decision for whatever reason and brings everybody up to rush the punter and doesn't have someone back there, which makes no sense at all.
You just have
no sense at all.
Someone that's basically won you 2 games.
You
as a punt
cannot.
returner.
You cannot. Okay, this is a Sark mistake. You cannot tell me that just putting the 10 guys on the line and having 1 guy back would make less of a difference than having 11 guys up, 4 of them which are back as if we're going to fake a punt. What is Sark doing in that case? We down it at the 1, and of course, like I said, we don't get any push on the tush push. And this is when we get into overtime. These are nitpicky. These are mistakes. At this point in the game, I'm not ringing my cowbell because there's no flipping reason to. Because at this point, why did they deserve for me to ring the damn cowbell in overtime? I did not ring my cowbell for a single second because there's just no damn reason to because of what had just transpired. But this is nitpicky. We had been in this exact same scenario when we were at home last against Tennessee. We win the coin toss. The crowd would not like it if it happened, obviously, in that moment. But what if we decided side of the field first instead of picking?
Yeah.
Considering our stadium arrangement, considering that the student section is one side, and on the other side it's open air, not just open air. You have the Texas fan base pretty much only on that side of the field. That's where the Texas band is. So it's kind of nitpicky. But maybe what if we decided, oh, we're going to play in front of our student section? The student section had caused a false start on 1st and goal from the 1 yard line already in that game in the second half. Texas scored a touchdown. Arch Manning threw a beautiful ball. But we had forced a false start from the 1 yard line because of how damn loud we were. And we had held them to a field goal down there on that side of the field. And I think just given, again, a learning opportunity, how the last home game had went, a loss in overtime in a game you feel like you should have won, that you had the lead in the fourth quarter of. And again, tie ball game with the ball, a chance to go take the lead and win the game. And given how that had went, why not go with the same philosophy that you have had since you got here, which is, what do we do every single coin toss that we win? We say we want the ball.
Yeah.
We receive.
Yeah.
Why do you not do that in overtime, considering how it went last time, considering how the defense went out there, and considering how demoralized they were on the tush push? We gave up a touchdown on the first play to Tennessee. We gave up a touchdown in 3 plays to Texas. It's nitpicky. I get it. But we want the ball. We're going to go score. That's how you play. That's been your philosophy. You're a gambler. Why do you not do that? Because if you choose side of the field and you choose student section, Texas is going to say, we want to play on defense, because that's what everyone does.
It's the right thing to do.
It is
99% of the time.
It is the right thing to do. But you are different, and you clearly are, because you've made some bonehead decisions, turned out to be bonehead decisions in key moments in the game. Why would you not go with that philosophy, make Texas give us the ball, and go make the first statement, hopefully? Like, just go out there and score a touchdown, and now you get to play touchdown, up 45-38. Texas has to score a touchdown in front of your student section, the loudest part of the entire stadium. Instead, we don't. Texas scores a touchdown, and we have what transpires in our possession in overtime. Those are Levy mistakes. And I completely understand why people may want to fire him post those mistakes. I get it. I'm going to have this as my last peace offering to Jeff Levy. This can't fucking happen again. This can't happen again in those ways again. You can't make those kinds of decisions again. You can't call the timeout to get to your best play one drive before and get Camario out there, and you have your guy, your superstar that you think is going to be, and you run your best play, and then the next time in the biggest mode of the game when the ball's at midfield, you don't call a timeout and we get sacked.
Yeah.
That can't happen. What happened in the Florida game can't happen. You've now learned from overtime. Hopefully, maybe we do decide that we want to play in front of our student section going forward, because you should, because that's the loudest part of the damn stadium, and that's where all of our key plays happen, not on that south end. So I will offer this as my last peace offering. None of this can happen again. If it does, he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally.
I think I basically told you after, or maybe it was your mom at the tailgate after. That's kind of where I'm at, of like, he's not going to get fired unless he does this again down the stretch. Like if we keep losing games this way, he's going to be gone, and that would be it'd be pretty remarkable for him to make that happen, considering where he was not 4 weeks ago in the eyes of the fan base. My reaction watching on the broadcast, and you get you get different shots. It's a different experience being in the stadium. There's pros and cons to that. The biggest difference to me in this game, and even the Florida game and the Tennessee game, this was the first game, as they keep panning to Jeff Levy and panning to players, that it felt like Jeff Levy was unsure of himself and not his normal confident self, and it felt like he was in over his head. That's the vibe I got, and that is matched by how the team played and some of his decisions down the stretch.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at the spot where it's like I'm not going to pick this team to win an SEC game until they prove me wrong. And I want them to prove me wrong. I know I'm not a State fan first, but I have a lot of State friends, and I root for State to win when they're not playing A&M, right?
Yeah. Or UVA.
And so that comes to the point of, okay, so Jeff Lebby's in over his head in that game, right? But he is young, and so there's room for growth, but he has to grow quick.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And the leash for that, like you mentioned, is now so small because of what's happened these past couple weeks.
Yeah.
Because the guy I saw on the sidelines yesterday, in my opinion, is not a guy that can lead an SEC program to wins, consistent wins, and good things, and bowl victories, and rivalry wins in the Egg Bowl and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe he learns and he rolls into Fayetteville next week and it's a close game and he's dynamite down the stretch, and I'll sing his praises then. Because I've already said it once. He's a young coach. It's not like he's set in his ways yet. But, man, it's a terrible look what happened yesterday.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. That's in large part how I feel as well. His leash is really short, but he is young. He's a first-time head coach last year. And he did not have the players in front of him to go really compete in games last year. So there was no, like I said, post-Florida game, there was no way to tell how he would handle these kinds of situations because he never got the chance to be in those kinds of situations because he just never had the talent to do that.
Yeah.
He now does, and clearly in 3 of the 4 SEC games, and I'd argue 4, have been in opportunities to potentially win games and has not handled the situation well in all 4 of them. His players have let him down.
Yeah.
If we had better players, yes, I don't think any of those things would have happened, of course. But ultimately, like, even if you have the best players in your Ohio State, you still have to make decisions like that when it comes down to critical moments. And Ryan Day has had to make those decisions. Nick Saban has had to make those decisions. Dabo Swinney has had to make those decisions. And so if you were at the top level, even in the national championship and in the playoff, you have to make those decisions just as much as you do if you are down at the talent level that we have. Sadly, you don't get to take away. I want to reiterate, you don't get to take away any of the positives from yesterday, which I'm just going to list off all of the positives because there were a ton of positives, but sadly, they will never be remembered outside of this conversation right here ever again. Sam West had a really nice touchdown, number 87, the white tight end, was not found. Really pretty play design. We scored a touchdown in the first half. Shapen's Mahomes impression.
That was
Devon
insane.
Booth, his little flip to Devon Booth. Thankfully, flips it to Devon Booth because at that moment, get the ball in a playmaker's hand. He's faster than you. Shapen was already kind of deciding to run. He hits Devon Booth. The beautiful ball to Brennan Thompson for a touchdown in the corner in front of the student section. Camario's goofy touchdown, as Sanders mentioned, on another.
Was that not the one to Sam West?
No, that was the one to Seydou.
Okay.
Traore, on a really pretty play design. We had basically ran Camario. We essentially had ran Camario every time he had been on the field, and we faked the run, leak out the tight end. Camario doesn't put enough touch on the ball. It gets tipped, but we score. Touchdown's a touchdown. Doesn't matter how it happened. Seydou, Traore, his awesome game. He was incredible, 6 for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns or a touchdown. Shapen threw for 381 yards against Texas. I don't care how it happened, but I think it should be impacted or it should be thought about positively how it happened. Sure. You know what his longest completion downfield was yesterday?
39 yards.
Jack?
I saw it in your notes. So
Okay. It's 23 yards. For an offense and Shapen that had been so predicated on hitting Brennan Thompson or Anthony Evans deep down the field, 23 yards was the longest completion yesterday. And he threw for 381 yards. Now, of course, he had a few long after the catch, but for the most part, the longest after the catch was Devon Booth's touchdown. Every other one was 25 to 30 yards at most. So Shapen threw for 381 against that Texas defense. Defensively, Kelly Jones was excellent. He had the pick, of course, but he had a couple pass deflections. He has the pass interference in the end zone, but it's first and goal from the 1. Like, what are you going to do? You might as well have pass interference. The defense had 5 sacks. Our ability to tackle one-on-one in space all game, for the most part, was amazing. We barely missed really any tackles out there in space, had a bunch of huge plays. The Texas could have got a lot more yards, but we tackle well in space. Stopping the screen game that Texas is predicated on for the most part, except for really 2 plays. The first play of the game, and then another screen pass that went for about 20 yards later in the game. Malik Sila had 3 TFLs. He was amazing. Former Aggie, as Jack mentions to the camera. Jerron Manning had 8 solo tackles as a corner. I mean, that's really incredible. And then special teams-wise, Ethan Pulliam was averaging 50 yards per punt across 6 punts in the game. He was changing the field position with how far he was punting the damn ball, and it was not allowing Texas to have very easy possessions. He puts 2 inside the 20, but sadly, you won't remember any of what I just said because no one will.
Sure.
It doesn't matter because you lost. Prior to their 31-point run, Texas had, which 31 points in the fourth quarter and overtime. Texas had 5 3-and-outs, just 4 drives over 10 yards, and 14 points. Our defense, sadly, only gave up 24 points, I would argue. They got spotted. Texas got spotted 4 because our penalty on the field goal, 3 because of Jeff Lebby going for it in the first half, 7 from the punt return, and I don't put the 7 against the defense that happened in overtime against them because the drive started from the 25-yard line. So the defense only gave up 24 points, which I think if we had said that post the game, we would have felt Texas had good odds.
Yeah.
Just insane.
Yeah.
No other way to put it. I think for the Texas side, maybe you start to think, you'll start to think, okay, Arch has finally kind of got it going. They, in their scoring drives, they picked us apart when we were in one-on-one coverage specifically. Their receivers just won one-on-one battles the entire fourth quarter, and Arch was putting good footballs. He's putting the ball in play and giving his receivers a chance, and we were able to cover them one-on-one, which I don't feel like we ever felt like we were going to. We had great moments in the first half, but once you get in the fourth quarter, everyone's tired at that point. That's when covering those receivers is that much harder, a la Jordan Tyson in the Arizona State game, and Brazil in the Tennessee game when Joey Aguilar converts the big 4th down. So that wasn't surprising to me, but I think for Texas you could very easily, and they will, spin it as Arch got going, our offense got going, and a win is a win is a win.
Yeah.
It keeps you all right there in the picture. That's only one SEC loss still.
Sure.
Playoff dreams are still alive, and now the Georgia game is what you look to post the Vanderbilt game. They host Vanderbilt next week, and then they'll have the Georgia game. These next 3 weeks are right there in front of Texas.
Sure.
If they can upset, which let's all guess the spread before I look at the spread. What do you think? You know it? What do you think the spread is? Vanderbilt at Texas next week.
Texas minus 5.5.
Texas minus 2.5.
Texas minus 3.5
Okay.
is what it opened as.
That's incredible.
It could have, since it was early, the line could have easily already moved, but it opened at Texas minus 3.5.
Yeah.
Arch played well. It does now come to, I wonder what his health situation is going to be
Sure.
as he with the concussion.
Is that confirmed? Because watching it was pretty clearly concussion. The way he got hit.
He was woozy. He didn't. It was not great. I do want to shout out real quick Matthew Caldwell for coming in and throwing that dime on the fade. That's big time stuff. And I think Texas, talking about a win is win. They've also used this to like promote and kind of build on like, we maybe aren't as. They're not going to say they're not as good as last year's team, but like the culture and the togetherness of this team is still the same, and we have that going for us.
Yep.
Big win from them in that point, but also horns down as always.
Yeah, I think the Arch part they got going passing wise. They did not run the football well at all. Their running backs had 68 yards on 21 carries, averaging about 3 a pop. So like C.J. Baxter returning and still having Quintrevion Wisner did not matter whatsoever in the game. So Kirk Herbstreit, you were wrong. We were able to stop the run. He said on game day as they were picking the game that Mississippi State cannot stop the run. That's what he said, direct quote. So Texas should just hand the ball off, and that was not the way the game went whatsoever. But it's a really, 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 really tough loss. But it continues to fit, the narrative we are Mississippi State. It fits the narrative of how Mississippi State was that.
Yeah.
For that to even, for the people still to be able to say post that when we had what Sanders said, a 98.7% chance to win that game.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, that was still very Mississippi State-like. It fits that narrative. It's a unbelievably brutal loss for, I would argue, for recruiting.
Yep.
It's an unbelievably brutal loss. Like I said in the preview, this is probably your best chance ever to beat Texas. It's probably your best chance ever to beat that logo, to beat Steve Sarkisian, to beat that team, and you missed the opportunity. And so that, had you had won, how crazy, again, would it have been to say that this is like the Virginia thing? Jeff Lebby's first SEC win is going to be against Steve Sarkisian in Texas.
Yep.
Imagine if you had said that when we hired Jeff Lebby.
Yeah.
You think, oh, he's the guy, give him a lifetime contract. And sadly, you don't get to say that going forward. So that is, again, another brutal hit. It hurts of, obviously, like I said, recruiting because of that, because you could say that we beat Texas. And I'll tell you, like, a recruit I think is actually going to take big impact from that, because they don't actually, from the recruiting visits that I've seen so far here at State, and maybe it's just the guys that were recruiting, when I see them then come into the student section, they do not give a crap about the football game. And so it makes me think way less of them as ball knowers. Yeah. And like I think I had like 6 or 7. Frederick! So close. Can we just got to restart the show.
Whole segment. Back it up.
I think I had 6 or 8 recruits that were behind me right there in the student section. I wasn't down there in the lower bowl, and they were all on their phones for the entire fourth quarter. Like, I don't think they ever looked up, even with what was happening in front of us.
Yeah.
That, like, so it may not hurt our recruiting really whatsoever, but I'd say my largest point out of that is being able to say that we beat Texas is going to matter to them, because like what Nate Bargatze said on College Game Day, the last time they looked at a football screen, Texas was the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
And so it would matter a ton.
Sure.
But you missed that opportunity as well. But I'll close with what I kind of promised in our chat earlier. This is the, I guess, copium. You could maybe classify it as.
I think it's copium.
Hopium. Jack completely disagrees with me, but I think that everything is still in front of us, and that we are still a live football team, and we still want that win so badly that I think we're going to get it eventually at some point. I also believe in the idea that God is going to give us a win. Because I don't think that what has transpired over the past month.
That makes me think of the meme where it's like, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors.
Agreed,
and it's like, how are you still alive?
Has been posted by a State fan numerous times.
Sure.
Lebby's Burners posted that at least 10 times.
I gotta go read Lebby's Burner, man.
I feel that...
Don't. He's calling for Blake Chapin's job.
Yeah,
after
it's not
throwing
worth
for
it.
380
Never mind.
and 4 touchdowns.
Never mind.
I still feel that we are like due for a win, I guess, in that case. And I would say my boldest take right now is that we're going to be already bowl eligible come the Egg Bowl.
Oh my!
Okay. At least you
I feel that way.
prefaced it by saying it's your boldest take.
I think we're going to win next week at
Okay.
Arkansas because, like we said, I think Arkansas is a dead team. I don't think we're a dead team.
Sure.
Arkansas is favored by 3.5 in that game. And that'll be the lowest spread in SEC play we've had so far. And I think we'll win that game at Arkansas next week. And then we will play at Missouri.
No,
Sure.
play Georgia.
We'll
and
play
then at
Georgia. And I think we can be competitive.
Yeah.
I really do think we can be competitive in that Georgia game, just given how Georgia's played defensively. Now, Kirby still has that game of we are Georgia, but I
Yeah.
don't think the level of talent is there for him to pull that
That'd
game
be
against
a weird
us.
spot. More likely you see it against Texas.
Yeah, or even Florida.
Yeah.
Maybe next week if Florida kind of wants to like respond with an interim head coach. Yeah, but I think the Texas game is much more likely for that. So I think we'll be competitive in that game. Their defense has not been great, so I think we'll score enough. And it may look exactly like the Tennessee game and Texas game where we're scoring really well. Our defense makes a few plays here and there. I think we'll be competitive in that game. I won't predict us to win because, for me, Georgia, I think, is still the best team in the SEC. And they're still my SEC champion pick. And then I think we'll be really competitive in the Missouri game. We
Yeah.
should be. Bo Perbula, of course, broke or dislocated his ankle.
Just a sprain.
Geez, no way.
That's what came out today. He
That
will
was,
not, he will not need surgery. But even still, the last is like there's still just only a chance that he plays in the regular season. He won't be back by that game.
Their backup quarterback actually played well, and we'll talk about that game in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do think maybe we can be more competitive in that game. Ahmad Hardy scares me, but we've been good in the run game for the
Very
most
good,
part.
yeah. It's not like he's been dicing people up on
Yeah,
the ground these
Jaden
days.
Baugh and the second half of the Arizona State game are really the only areas or the spots, at least, where we've struggled stopping the run. And so maybe we're really competitive in that game. So I think we'll get 2 of the next 3. And I do think we'll be bowl eligible come the Egg Bowl. And like I also said yesterday, we might score 70 in the Egg Bowl, but T-Sun might score 77.
Sure.
But anything can happen in the Egg Bowl, as all Egg Bowl historians know.
Yeah. There's a reason I didn't have that as a not winnable game.
So I think we're going to be 6-5
I disagree, but
Come-
okay.
Thanksgiving week, and there will be extreme buzz around the Egg Bowl. And then I think the Egg Bowl for me is even if we lose the next 3 games, which is how the Egg Bowl works, the Egg Bowl is, I think, the game that kind of could decide Levy's fate next year.
Yeah.
Winning that game, I think, secures him through next year, unless, of course, he went 0-8 in SEC play once
Sure.
again, which I wouldn't expect. I think we might
Wait,
actually.
like so it buys him all of next year, and then the year like he gets to the year after that. Is that
I think so.
really?
Because Egg Bowl
Egg Bowl
success
matters so much.
hasn't
Yeah.
been there.
I think
here.
here's how I like see our futures, and this is one of the things I want to talk about. I think I texted Tucker about it. I see it's a sucky situation. I think even if Levy loses out, he will be here next year. And I think the unfortunate part is like it's gonna be like we're gonna go into that season knowing it's not gonna be a good season. I don't think the boosters are gonna back him after going 0-16. I don't think the recruits are gonna be invested in a coach that goes 0-16. And so I think it's gonna be almost like a burner year where it's just like the fans gonna be like, there's not gonna be hype. There was energy coming into this year. I don't think there's going to be energy going into a year where we went 2-10 and then 4-8. And so I think that he's going to be set up for failure in year 3, and then he'll be out. That's if he loses out this year. If he can get to a bowl game, I think that flips on its head. If he can win a game or 2, having shown that I think it would be better for him to win games like games he just lost, as opposed to you go into Arkansas and Taylor Green throws a couple picks and you win like 38-14 or 38-21.
I would take 38-21 or anything.
people will take anything at this point.
But I'm saying
I think you're more so saying I would agree with you if you're saying like we won like how we did last time we won at Fayetteville, where it was 10-7 and offense wasn't cooking and it was just such an ugly watch.
I'm more so saying I think it would help for fans to see him learn to manage a close game. So if you go into Arkansas and blow them out, that's great. Fans are excited. But maybe the fans who are writing like $2.5 million checks are gonna think twice and be like, yeah, but we still haven't seen you manage a game that matters when it matters. Sure, we've seen you lose 3 of them, and now we've seen you blow out Arkansas in Fayetteville when they don't when they don't care. But we haven't seen you win a game that matters when it matters. That's why I say that I don't like. Yeah,
I just think they want to win at this point.
Yeah. So I'll ask you this. Actually, no, I won't. Let's just end the show. I'm just.
We got a lot more.
Let's end the
segment.
Let's end the segment. Not the show.
We can end the segment.
I got a lot to say still.
But I was say
stuff.
There's many more games that transpired this week. But yeah, that was. I meant to look at the clock before we started.
I think we did 45, maybe 40 minutes.
I can actually find out.
Because you sent your text.
No.
30 something.
I could also look at that. What was the guess?
30 something minutes. 38 minutes.
Sanders?
I was gonna say 40. You said that we're talking state football 6:21.
It's 44 minutes.
44 minutes.
40. Yeah. Wow. All
Not
right.
bad. Not bad.
Now we can talk
Not
about.
bad at all. It should have been worse.
It could have been worse. Yeah.
Could have been a whole lot better. Could have just been us screaming and whooping and hollering.
I should have bought Jeff
15
Labby.
minutes.
Will be fired, man.
Yeah. No good juice on that right now. All right.
Bad day for Mississippi State fans yesterday, as we just covered. The other SEC school in the state of Mississippi, however, had a great day.
The arch rivals of these two
The arch
teams.
rival, correct. As number 8 Ole Miss goes on the road to number 13 Oklahoma and wins a big one. 34-26 is something Lane Kiffin has struggled to do in terms of winning big games on the road. But he gets it done. It's his new masterpiece, and they were very happy there. Thoughts on this game, guys?
I watched much of it, and then I went back and watched a lot of it again. It's kind of just like a depressing. You can't not be depressed with the showing for OU, and you can't not be pretty happy with the showing if you're an Ole Miss fan. Just things through the game, like decision making on the opening drive for OU didn't make any sense. They got down the field on the deep ball to Satanga, and then they immediately started throwing the ball. They threw it, I think, 3 times in a row, and ended up being forced into a field goal post the School Up North's opening drive field goal. I wanted, for context, if you didn't watch this game, it is pouring rain when this is going on. And immediately I knew, watching that, sitting there at the tailgate, they don't trust the run. They don't trust the run. And if you don't trust the run when it's pouring down rain, then I just didn't think they'd have a chance. And to be honest, it was shocking that they were even in the game and had as many chances as they did. Trinidad Chambliss was excellent again. T-Sun was 9 for 21 on 3rd down, 2 for 3 on 4th down. That's 21 third downs is actually, it's just an insane number already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have that many, but 9 for 21 on 3rd, it again shows another clear representation of what Lane Kiffin's offense is, which is a lot of short yardage things, and so you have a lot of 3rd downs because you gain roughly 3 to 4 yards per play.
Yep. It's 3 to 4 yards, 3 to 4 yards, 3 to 4 yards.
They also
someone makes a man miss. Now it's to 25
yeah,
yards.
they also just saw a lot of drives, a lot of I mean, Oklahoma played 4, 8, like 13, 14 drives in the game. Whereas you go back to last week and Georgia, I think, only had 7 possessions and scored on all of them, and then Ole Miss had like also 7, maybe 8.
I think it was 8 and 8.
Yeah, so it's kind of a different drive chart from last week.
Yeah, OU still, again, like I said, could not run the ball. Blaylock went 6 for 10 yards.
Yeah.
Including the safety, which terrible play call, running the ball from shotgun when you can't run the ball on your own 1 yard line.
Brilliant.
makes no sense. Just
Yeah.
run John Mateer in a quarterback power or
And
something.
The final like rush yard stat is a little misleading because they break off the 65-yard run.
Yep.
Which is big and is important, and he scored a touchdown. But there wasn't like consistent run pushes. Nothing Ole Miss ever really had to respect.
Yeah, John Mateer was 13 for 17 yards. He was sacked 3 times.
You're telling me Xavier Robinson averaging 12.1 per carry isn't reflective of the game?
No, it is not. That would be a bad luck stat, as Josh Pate would say. For context, Georgia ran for 221 yards last week. And that was a key part of the game that Pate had talked about, we had talked about for that game. And I don't remember if we had talked about it for this game, but like Old Piss is not good at stopping the run so far this season. And Georgia ran for 221 last week. But Oklahoma's 2 best players ran for 27 yards on 19 carries. Sculp North did what they needed to do to protect Trinidad Chambliss the entire game. He was sacked just once. It was his second quickest time to throw all season, 2.33 seconds. So he was, like I predicted, was getting the ball out quickly and was avoiding that pass rush that OU had, only sacked once. I think for Ole Miss fans, obviously I would imagine they would have been frustrated watching the game, and I think they would probably still feel frustrated after the game because even when our offense is cooking as well as it is, and Trinidad is making all these big plays, and you're having these long drives, and you're going for touchdowns, when you're not, then it becomes a problem because when you're not and your defense is not playing as well, even against a poor offense in OU, and of course last week against Georgia, when you don't score touchdowns, it catches up to you. And for Ole Miss, it did in this game. They had 3 field goals in this game on the OU side of the field, obviously. Otherwise, you'd be kicking a 68-yarder.
Yeah, they don't have Brandon Aubrey on their team.
And OU took the lead in this game, which, like, for considering how it was going, for OU to take the lead at some point in this game is astounding. But Trinidad responded. They went 11 plays for 75 yards and a touchdown post that, including a 4th and 1 to retake the lead. OU then punts. Sculp North goes 3 and out with midfield field position, and Satanga fumbles the punt. Just a brutal drop. Austin Williams looked like that, of course, in front of your home crowd. So I would say actually better. It's better considering I was at that game. It felt a lot worse for it to happen in front of LSU and their fans than I think OU felt yesterday. And Trinidad then hits Winston Watkins immediately for a deep shot down the sideline. And I thought, for me, my favorite play of the entire game, the dude on the sideline, I don't know if you remember it. You probably would have to go back and watch it. But he's trying to protect the Sooner schooner, which is their wagon that they roll out on. Winston Watkins catches it, and he's running down the sideline, and he's beelining it essentially because of momentum at the Sooner schooner. And he steps in front, and the cheerleaders are also right there in front of the Sooner schooner. And he steps in front, and he's trying to slow down Winston Watkins, and he gets absolutely drilled. Like, if you go listen to the sound of that play, it is like it would be on Loudest Hits of Football segment or a YouTube video. It was so loud. But he protected the Sooner schooner. He put his body on the line for OU. It was my favorite play of the entire game. If you saw that, it would have been probably hilarious. I don't know if a lot of people saw it in the moment, but that was hilarious, protecting the wagon, which I love it. But again, Old Piss, Jack's trying to pull it up right now. Old Piss couldn't finish the drive.
Sorry, I was looking at something else. I'll explain later.
Okay. Old Piss couldn't finish the drive, and Mateer gets his chance. He, in fact, gets 2 chances.
Yeah.
Because Ole Miss goes 3 and out, post the first chance. In the 2 chances, and this is what sucks, I think, for a lot of people, of course, the people that are really high on Mateer, me being so high on OU, at least at this point in the season, John Mateer, in the 2 chances that he had to go tie the game down 8, was 5 for 14 for 63 yards. Running for his life, a ton of that, just really bad. That is kind of with the rain subsiding, too, in the second half.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of showing you just didn't expect. And for me, I definitely didn't expect it because one of the things I've praised a ton about OU and their offense has been the way that they have started the game, ended the half, started the half, ended the game.
Sure.
They were not good at that this weekend, and that cost them again.
Sure.
And so OU loses their second SEC game, and just like that, OU is 2 losses in the SEC, it's probably out of the race considering that Texas and Old Piss have the head-to-head tiebreaker, and now you have to win out to go to the playoff, and you have to play at Tennessee and at Alabama still.
Good luck. Yeah, it was just a tough showing from the. I know they end up putting up 26 points, but just a kind of a tough showing from the Oklahoma offense. The way they just simply cannot run the ball and teams don't have to respect it. It simply is just putting too much on John Mateer's plate. And we saw that talking about, he gets his 2 chances, and he's just off target on multiple throws because he's just trying to do too much. He's not allowed to play to his strengths, which is playing outside of structure and play action and getting outside the pocket when you can't run the ball. So then it's just a lot more traditional shotgun stuff. It's just not. It's not going to bode well. So that was really, really disappointing to see. And then Trinidad Chambliss just continues to impress, make big throws.
Yeah, he's been incredible.
It's I don't know. I just don't know how that happens as someone that is like high on Austin Simmons going into the year, and it's like, oh man, Austin Simmons doesn't pan out, and they're just like, we have this Jimmy sitting in the wings just ready to roll, and he cooks.
So much of it has to be said to wow Lane Kiffin, but Trinidad makes a ton of incredible throws.
Yeah.
And I now, for the second week in a row, can question, which a lot of people have questioned as well, how is this guy still in D2?
Yeah.
Because he is making incredible throws. He is dynamic with his legs.
100%.
So how does a talent like that transfer into an SEC school to be a backup?
Sure.
Why was he not already in the FBS level? It's astounding.
Yeah, 100%. And you are right. Like, Lane Kiffin's scheme is so impressive, and he deserves a ton of credit for that because it is largely QB proof. But even aside from that, Chambliss makes big time throws outside of that.
Incredible
when
throws. It's
a 3rd and long, and that you can't do the necessarily traditional Lane Kiffin stuff. He'll drop it in on the sideline over a defender right into his receiver's arms as they're going out of bounds.
Yeah.
So it's just
he did that in this game as well. Like
unreal.
in the rain in the first half, he was incredible. I wish I'd had enough time to get it, but they converted like so many 3rd and longs too. Of those 9 third down conversions, I felt like at least half of them were like 3rd and 7 or longer.
I think I can tell you if you give me just a sec.
Yeah, and for the OU defense, like that is astounding.
They were 2 for 4 on 3rd and 9 plus.
That's
You'll take that all day. You'll take that all day.
2 for 4 is excellent.
Yeah.
I'm sure they weren't sacked on either of those as well. It's just what a statement. Trinidad playing excellent.
It's just it's so clear too that him and Lane Kiffin are on the same page throughout the whole game. Even if something like doesn't go right in the moment, there's no like Lane Kiffin having to be like, here's what you did wrong. Trinidad knows what he did wrong and like knows the system so well, and it's just really impressive.
Yeah, and for a guy who just got in there, he already knows
100%.
the system and is playing that well. I think for me, it just continues to now hone in the fact that like if he got to Florida, like they could be not. Of course, I want it because screw Old Piss.
Sure.
And he's been excellent there, and has been excellent in the Egg Bowl, and been just really a detriment to our university, sadly. But if he got to Florida and he got the talent on top of everything that's going on, and he was able to put together a consistent offense and defense, because that's kind of been their problem the past 2 or 3 years, is that they've been, like last year, really consistent defensively, but Jackson Dart, surprisingly, is not good offensively, and it struggles for them in their losses. And then this year, what may do them in is the fact that they can't defend anybody. So if he got to Florida and he had both of those because of the talent profile, you would expect at least, then he could be really, really dangerous. And then on top of that, getting the host games in the Swamp, and that being such a home field advantage for them, he could be really, really dangerous. And so I say all that to say, Florida, go get your guy, because he's ready.
Agree.
He's ready.
Also, the LSU job has officially opened up, so
No way.
LSU may go after him.
Brian Kelly was just fired.
Yep. Pete Thamel tweeted. I think I bookmarked it to bring it up when there was a lull in the conversation.
We
We can talk
bring
about
it
more
up
in
after the
game.
A&M
Okay.
LSU
Yeah,
game.
yeah. Let's do that.
Holy Schubert, that's insane.
All right.
I think he fits better at Florida.
Um,
I don't necessarily disagree, but I think LSU is going to make their push.
Yeah, James Franklin should go to LSU. That would be
okay.
Hilarious.
Missouri. Anything else for Ole Miss and Oklahoma?
no.
I kind of just
I-
lost everything in my brain.
No,
yeah, that's
That's
shocking.
valid.
OU, or not OU, Old Piss has essentially, with that win, splitting the 2 road games, has essentially locked up a playoff bid and may have a fighting chance to be in the SEC championship with 1 loss. But they have essentially locked up a playoff bid unless for some reason they don't make it at 10-2. And so sadly, State fans, I don't think will have the chance to knock them out of the playoff in the Egg Bowl, but we may have the chance to knock them out of the SEC championship in the Egg Bowl.
Yeah.
Old Piss, I keep trying to say OU. They host South Carolina. They host the Citadel. They host Florida. And then they come to Starkville for the Egg Bowl. Those are their 4 games remaining.
I think they have like a 90-something% chance to make the playoffs.
they should.
Going to ESPN
They've
FPI.
basically locked up their playoff bid. And so Lane finally gets to the playoff with his Rebels, assuming that they don't lose to Cock Vimber next week on primetime in Vaughn Hemingway.
Yeah.
Or interim head coach at Florida or the Egg Bowl. They are right there in the spot. So congrats to the Rebels. They finally got over the hump and have gotten past the thing that has held them back. Like, that's been their sad part at the end of every season, is that they felt like they've been right there.
Yeah.
And no different, I think, how you feel with the Aggies.
Sure.
Have felt, especially last year. And so hopefully that doesn't happen for the Aggies. But hopefully it does happen to Old Piss. And
I agree.
They choke here down the stretch, but we'll see.
Completely agree. Last thing I want to bring up is I wonder what the conversations become around Brent Venables if this trend continues and they lose a couple more games down the stretch and it's 8-4, or even worst case scenario, say they lose Tennessee, Bama, Missouri, which that's extreme. But then all of a sudden, you've lost 5 games. I wonder like what the temperature is going to be there in terms of how the fans feel about him. Because if that's the case, it's not been a good start at all to the SEC tenure.
Yeah, I think very easily it is going to be at the end of the year to feel very different to how you felt going into the Red River Shootout.
Yeah.
And the fact that Michigan is probably going to be a 3-loss team, and they've been underwhelming. Auburn has been terrible. They fired their head coach. And those are your 2 marquee wins. Winning at South Carolina actually didn't matter as much as she thought it was going to the beginning of the season. So I think it could be very quickly kind of stirring up a little conversation there of like Venables isn't up to the task for the SEC, which he was not last year, of course. But we credit that to Jackson Arnold being terrible, which maybe you could throw that on Hugh Freeze, and that's a conversation there.
I was going to say, I think Jackson Arnold, it is confirmed Jackson Arnold terrible.
Yes, but it could definitely stir up some conversation. It almost makes the next year kind of make or break, which sucks because, you land Mateer, everything is rolling high. You're looking at playoff. You're looking at Heisman Trophy winner.
Does indeed high roll, from what I've heard.
Yes, Mateer has his gambling scandal, which should be talked about more, but isn't for whatever reason, even with the re-upbringing of gambling that we've had in the past week. And now Venables is on the hot seat. Their next 2 games, pretty easy ones, at Tennessee, Rocky Top, and on primetime on ABC, of course. And then at Alabama.
Light work.
Yeah, good luck.
This is what this is what y'all signed up for, to be fair.
Sure
The
is.
SEC. Which I did get a good cackle out of Michael Taft last week in his presser, being like, "Oh, SEC is just a grind, and that's why you in an overtime game against Kentucky because every opponent's really good." When we've heard about as A&M fans from Texas fans for years about how it's easy and it's overinflated, but just brings me joy. But that's all I have here. We can move on. Man, JP, we missed our opportunity here
Yeah.
because this could have been our race to 20 game, and it should have been our race to 20 game.
0 for 2 now, unfortunately.
We'll land one at some point.
We were a week early.
We were a week
Maybe
early.
we're a week early for next week, and Arkansas Mississippi State will be a race to 20 for whatever reason.
That would be. I think there'd have to be like 10 turnovers total
Yeah.
in that game.
Yeah.
You never know though. Number 15 Missouri goes on the road to number 10 Vanderbilt, where game day is, and it was basically race to 20, meaning it was a defensive slugfest. Scoring was at a premium. I believe it was 3-3 at halftime.
Yes.
Missouri does everything they can to win the game and everything they can to lose the game at the same time, meaning they outgain Vandy. They're in positions to score numerous times. They miss a chip shot field goal. They don't convert the 4th and goal that Bo Prabula gets hurt on, and he leaves the game. And then technically your third-string quarterback has to come in and play.
Yeah.
And then you throw the Hail Mary, and it's complete, but it's at the half-yard line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you lose by 7.
Mm.
Heartbreaking for Missouri. Drinkwitz is still kind of looking for that massive win. These past couple years, he's not been able to get the job done. Y'all's thoughts on this game, though?
Sanders, unless you want to go first.
No, once again, I don't get to watch a lot of the games when I work
Okay.
on Saturday.
Yeah,
so
this was right in your time slot, too.
Yes,
so.
it was. This was during the state game. But just reading the drive chart is hilarious. This is the drive chart for both teams combined. So this is just the total drive chart. The first 6 drives are punts. Back-to-back field goals, which is hilarious.
Yep.
Punt, end of half. That's the first half right there. The second half, interception. Missouri turns it over on downs with goal to go. Punt, miss field goal. And then one play, 80 yards, touchdown. Then we have an extended drive of 12 plays, 75 yards, touchdown to respond to that touchdown. Punt, fumble, 9 plays, 44 yards, touchdown, 13 plays, 74 yards, end of game. That's just hilarious of a drive chart to look at, considering the first half and the second half. The biggest thing, like why this was a race to 20, was penalties was really holding these teams back. Vanderbilt is in field goal range. They throw it away on 3rd down, I should say. Unnecessary roughness on their offensive linemen. It pushes them out of field goal range. Missouri is driving again in the first half. They have a tripping called. They are forced into a field goal when they were right there looking at a touchdown potentially.
They got to the 1-yard line before it was called back for tripping.
They're forced out of field goal range, I should say. They, of course, don't score any points on that drive. Pavia scores a touchdown on a classic Pavia play, but Vanderbilt commits 2 penalties on the play. Holding is the one that ends up getting called. It's a field goal. Missouri is driving again right before halftime. They have holding on a 3rd and 4 after Bo Prabula picks up a first down, and they don't get any points. And we get into the second half. The penalties really hold the teams back in the first half. For me, the turning point in the game is Missouri's 3rd quarter, and this is Missouri's entire 3rd quarter. Pavia throws the pick on the tipped interception, hands you excellent field position in a tied 3-3 ball game. 2nd and goal from the 3. You have Bo Prabula, Ahmad Hardy, and you don't score a single point. Insane. Bo gets hurt, of course, on the 4th down carry. An insanely dirty play. That's you don't grab people's feet and then hold on to them. Somehow Bo might have a chance to return this season. It was ugly, so ugly.
100%. It's stunned when I saw that nothing's broken or snapped.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't need surgery.
Maybe he's just got a young body like that. Jalen Williams of the Oklahoma City Thunder surprises me like that, where he just takes falls and then somehow gets up and is cooking 5 minutes later. I don't expect the same from Bo, but we hope he gets well soon. I, of course, hope he gets well soon. He's on my fantasy team, and I love Bo as a former Penn Stater. Continue, though, in the 3rd quarter. They get a big stop, convert a 4th down. So they get the big stop post. They get a 3-and-out post their failure to score from 2nd and goal from the 3. They convert a 4th down on the drive with the backup quarterback, one of his 3 4th down conversions in the second half, which insane for the backup. And doink a field goal. It was, again, another candidate for the loudest doink ever. And then the very next play, 1 play, 80 yards, touchdown for Vanderbilt. That's how the 3rd quarter went for them.
Yep.
And that was the turning point in the entire game. And then I have one more takeaway. But, Jack, if you have anything on that.
No, I mean it is. You summed it up really well. It's crazy that Vandy just has a knack for the big run play. They're like guaranteed one just massive explosive rushing touchdown a game, and it essentially won them this game. The way it went down and where it was in that game.
Yeah.
And then the Vandy defense won
Agreed.
Vanderbilt this game, and it's the unit that doesn't get as much love as the Diego Pavia-led offense with Eli Stowers and Cedric Alexander. But they got dudes on that side, and to hold Missouri to 10 points is just really, really well done.
Yeah.
But the biggest takeaway people are probably going to have is the just egregious SEC officiating once again.
Surprise.
Cedric Alexander's handed the ball off. He is stopped short. He is clearly down. Clearly down. Missouri defender rips the ball out, gets the ball, runs down and scores a touchdown. And they call that a touchdown on the field for zero reason whatsoever. And so now that instills all of this belief and hope in the Missouri sideline, who had just lost their quarterback. They're up 17-10. Eli Drinkwitz thinks, oh, we now have control of the game. That was a touchdown because we called it on the field. They go to review. Honestly, overturning it is correct because he was clearly down. But it's a lot closer than you thought it might be. And considering how SEC camera crews are, it's also a lot harder to overturn that call. And yet they still overturn it. And, of course, Vanderbilt scores a touchdown right after that. It's the game-winning touchdown. But it's another example of just SEC officiating failing in the moment. Thankfully, they kind of clean it up, but they make a play happen again on the goal line, a big deal for no reason.
Yeah. Sure.
And what pisses me off the most is if you're going to call that a touchdown, why was the Georgia one not a touchdown?
Maybe they had a meeting that said, hey, we need to be sure that doesn't happen again.
I guess.
And that's why they let it play out, because it was close and they didn't want to get bit the same way twice.
It just shouldn't go that way. And it really aggravates me.
No, they're told, their referees are told you always let it play out. Always let it play out. They should have let the Georgia one play out.
Yes.
So why are you mad that they made a mistake and then didn't make that same mistake this time?
Because it shouldn't have happened the first time.
I agree, it shouldn't have happened
the
first
time.
It should not have happened the first time.
And so now it becomes a problem for me because it's like trauma. It's just brought up again.
Sure.
Even if it has nothing to do with it. It's just that'll probably be what people take away from the game a little bit more with the Bo Prapula injury as well. But Vanderbilt is 7-1, well within the top 10 now.
Yeah.
And they go to Texas this weekend. And who would have thought the Vanderbilt-Texas spread would only be 3.5 points at the beginning of the year?
Agreed.
Insane.
Or 2 years ago.
Agreed.
Or 25 years ago.
Or 50 years ago.
Insane.
I don't know, 50 years? No, that's still the 70s. You got to go about like 80 years to where like you're like in...
You're in Vandy's heyday.
Thoughts on Diego Pavia's game? JP goes 10 for 19, 129 yards, no touchdowns and an interception. Very much not... He does add eight carries for 20 yards and a touchdown on the ground. So any thoughts there from his gameplay?
I just thought they just could never get a flow offensively. And in large part it was because they couldn't get their tight ends involved like they did against LSU. Eli Stowers had 1 catch for 4 yards, and that was it for their tight ends. Remember last week at LSU they had touchdowns each. Stowers had his 1 catch was an incredible catch, but that was his only catch of the entire game, and so they couldn't get anything going there. And it was just I don't take anything away negatively.
Wait, how
for
many
Pavia.
catches did he have?
He had 1 catch, 4 yards. Schubert. I got reading that. He had 3 catches for 42 yards.
Yeah.
I apologize. But still, 3 catches for 42 yards was not exactly what you expected.
Not his best day.
And I just thought it was, for me, a defensive slugfest, and so I don't take away a lot negatively from Pavia. The pick kind of hurt them, but that is also Pavia in a nutshell.
Where was the pick?
It was
on the field?
It was.
It wasn't red zone again,
It was
it?
on the field inside their own 20.
Okay.
He throws it over the middle. It's tipped by a Missouri defensive lineman and then picked off. So it's partially because he's not that athletic and he can't just see over the top and throw over the top all the time, but I don't take away a ton negatively. It was a huge moment that he missed, I think. This would have helped him a lot in the Heisman, because I don't know if they are to win those games, which they have 2 road games left, Texas and Tennessee, then it may solidify his case. But this was a huge moment to where even if he lost those 2 games, I think he might be still in the conversation.
Sure.
To not be able to cook against Missouri when you have game day and only on ESPN, but you would have had a large audience watching this game, considering that window. I don't remember what the ABC game was at this time. Yeah, I don't remember.
Me either.
Exactly. So Missouri Vanderbilt would have been watched by a lot of people. And so it's a missed opportunity for his Heisman case, which I think is the biggest thing for me.
Was this a 3:15 game?
It was a 2:30 on ESPN.
2:30. Yeah, I don't know.
Was the ABC game, was it somehow Auburn, Arkansas?
No, it might have Schubert.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
I got to go look that up.
Yeah, I really want to know.
We'll do it then.
Yeah, we'll call that the end of the... Do you have anything else to say? Okay, cool. We only got 2 games left. We're getting there. Hold up. Can I go back and see the schedule?
Okay, I just have to look up where Jesse Palmer and Joe Tessitore were.
Replay? No. Excuse me. Well, yeah, for those of y'all, I don't know. I'm just about to start yapping. Haven't played college football 26 in a while. It's been a bit. I think we talked about our natty. Is that the last time we played? Was that night we stayed till like 1 a.m.? It was last weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, we won the natty.
Won the natty, which is big. Man, the NFL. Did you see the? We talked about this earlier. The Eagles game with the fumble.
Alabama at South Carolina.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
makes
where they
sense.
were. That was the ABC game.
Makes sense.
That it does.
But I thought
I need to
top
plug in my
25
computer.
matchups mattered for viewers and.
You
you
gotta-
might want to leave
you-
the headset there.
You got to get what you got to get, man.
Man,
Like
I
this.
cannot wait to get to this BYU Iowa State game and thank all of our LDS fans. Did you hear, JP, that it is now our most viewed video ever?
Yes.
Yeah. It's up to it's also brought in the most subscribers we've ever had come in from a video. It is far and away our most successful video.
It's too easy.
Yeah, you're just a little bit on camera. Just,
Fantastic view.
all right, well,
Sure.
we're gonna have to keep yapping for a few minutes.
I mean, Steelers strike first on Sunday Night Football. It's 3-0.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers to a tight end. Oh, 3-0. Okay.
3-0, yeah.
How many different tight ends are going to catch a game tonight?
Catch a game.
A touchdown in this game.
1.
Only one?
Only
After
one.
having 4 or whatever catch one last
Yeah.
week?
It's not a tight end game. I'm feeling it.
All right. Well, you felt it last week. You didn't stick
Yeah.
with your guns, but you did feel
Well, I'm not the NFL guy.
a Pat Fryermuth touchdown coming. Me and Tucker did our
Okay,
did our Tony.
I don't
what?
think Jared Curtis actually decommitted.
Who?
The Georgia QB.
Oh, maybe not.
Because I've seen nothing about it, but I did see a meme post about it. I feel like it would have been bigger news.
I probably liked it. Let me go see if I liked it. I like too many things on Twitter. I'm up to 35,500 likes.
Yeah, that's bonkers.
Like way too much stuff on Twitter. 4 hours ago, a day ago.
All right, let's roll.
Let's do it.
Well, I was gonna try and find.
What are we finding?
He told me that the Georgia guy decommitted. The Georgia QB decommitted from Georgia.
Jared Curtis. I saw a tweet saying that he decommitted.
But I've seen nothing about
and I
it.
may have been.
And I think he got baited because I just saw
Send
a Pete Nokos tweet about it.
Maybe that's who. What's his name? Jared Bailey?
Jared Curtis.
Curtis. I don't know why.
Jared Bailey. I think that is a player.
I don't know.
Oh. Well, Will Hammond's missing the rest of the season. Towards ACL.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's what you get, Brandon, when you tune into the live stream. You get that view. That view won't be on YouTube in our
No,
videos.
it won't.
So, congrats.
Jared Curtis. Jared Curtis. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I must have got baited.
I guess Brandon.
Crazy.
How crazy is it that Brian Kelly has been fired before Hugh Freeze this year? Would you have imagined that
Whoa! Don't spoil the Brian Kelly talk. We got to say that
as
for
an Auburn fan?
post.
Well, just for him to say in the
okay,
chat,
okay.
and then we can.
Although
continue.
Clark Leah tweeted a Vanderbilt flag, and Hayes Fawcett tweeted the Elmo in burning fire emoji. So
He's dramatic. He tweets that a lot.
maybe. All right, let's move on to our next and second to last game, Texas A&M at LSU.
A tale of two halves game here as number 3 Texas A&M travels to number 20 LSU and has to go into Death Valley at night. A lot of talk pregame about what the environment was going to be like.
Yeah, LSU 20-1 at night games under Brian Kelly.
Yep, 20-1, and that was what they needed to hold on to win this game. And for the first half, it kind of looked like maybe it was going to happen. A&M sloppy, multiple picks from Marcel Reed. They get the punt blocked for the safety. And it's like, I can't believe going into half, A&M, who for a large part of that first half, especially the first quarter, they're moving the ball well. They looked like the better team. But you're down going into half. And then A&M comes out at halftime and goes on a 35-0 run and just wipes the floor with LSU in Death Valley so bad that at the start of the fourth quarter, the fans have already cleared out so much that the A&M fans have all congregated around the A&M band, and the A&M players are going and celebrating with them essentially to start the fourth quarter. And there's A&M fans in the LSU student section chanting "Fire Brian Kelly" with the LSU students.
Yep.
And an LSU commit who is on a visit is in the A&M section doing war chants.
Yeah, the whatever the one that y'all do the swaying stuff.
Yeah.
Which that's my favorite one of the Colt chants.
Sure.
That was insane to see at the end of the game.
And there's the one lone LSU fan, double bird in the middle of it, just holding his ground emphatically.
I
And
respect it.
That's where I want to
Protect your home turf.
I want to start before we get more into the X's and O's is what this game means for A&M and LSU. It's a huge win for A&M. The first time since joining the SEC, we've won in Death Valley. It's a big statement.
Yeah.
And now we know that Brian Kelly's getting fired, so that's what's done it in for Brian Kelly.
Mike Elko.
Yeah, breaking
or not
news
Mike
about
Elko,
Brian Kelly
but
getting fired. If you're watching this, we had
It's
it
another fired
first,
head
but you're
coach.
just watching it later. But we were the first to know. We're just reporting on the live stream.
Yeah.
So for those watching the video later, if you're watching tomorrow, we broke it first.
I wish we broke it first. That'd be really cool if we had those connections. But no, they had multiple meetings today. Sound like he's out the door. They have a team meeting at 8 p.m. Central Time.
Sheesh.
And it'll probably be official after that, but it's basically already been tweeted as official.
Wow.
Apparently, they told him to fire the OC in a meeting earlier today, and he said he'll fire the offensive line coach.
But
And
the tweet
then
I saw
walked out.
said he would fire the offensive line coach too, which I don't know. It's just I
They were
can't
gonna
wait
fire
till
him
we
anyway.
get
That's
more information
irrelevant.
to know what really happened.
It was just a true Brian Kelly unraveling, though, as A&M is building on the lead and the defense can't move the ball, or the LSU's offense can't move the ball, and they can't stop A&M. He's cussing out anyone he can find on the sideline from coaches or players, just being a complete ass, to be honest. There's just no accountability. And it was cinema to watch as an A&M fan, personally, from that. And it spirals. We can walk through, I guess, how the second half transpired for more context if you want to do that, JP.
I would actually love to talk about the first half.
Do that first, then.
Because I thought, obviously, the first half, for me, actually told the bigger story than the second half. And I will convey that in the length that I talk about the first half and the second half. The first half was just a story of LSU not taking advantage of momentum, which I thought was a critical part in this game. It's why I picked LSU to win this game, because in front of that crowd, momentum it's dangerous. It is so dangerous. It doesn't matter how the team is playing. The momentum behind that crowd will change the game. It did not, though, yesterday. The first drive, LSU starts with the ball. They're almost to midfield. Their left tackle doesn't even get his hands on Cassius Howell. It is a sack on second down. It's a long third. LSU is the punt. They were almost in field goal position. Marcel Reed, of course, has his long touchdown run, and then you have the trade as green drive, where I think he catches either 3 or 4 balls, catches the touchdown on 2 guys.
Yeah.
The crowd is back in it. The defense with the crowd roaring once again in Death Valley, gives up a 10-play, 75-yard touchdown drive where A&M has conversions on 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 7. With that defense, with how well it had been playing at that point in the season, it was a shock. Honestly, a shock to see that happen. With the crowd roaring, too, I expected LSU to then take advantage of that, force a 3-and-out, and be right back in it.
Yeah.
The next drive, LSU has the ball. They're down 7. They're almost to midfield again. This time, the right tackle gets destroyed on 2nd down, and it's another Cassius Howell sack, long 3rd down. They get the safety on special teams on the block punt. It's 14-9. Crowd's back in it. We're back in the game, roaring at Death Valley. LSU goes 3-and-out. Marcel Reed drives down the field, throws an awful pick in the red zone, just doesn't see the defender whatsoever, assumes he can just play pitch and catch. LSU, to their credit, takes advantage of that momentum and goes down the drive and scores a touchdown. Okay, we scored the touchdown. We're right back in it. Okay, we'll just roll out. We'll kick the little 21-yard extra point. They missed the extra point. And so the momentum doesn't even like it. Missing extra points does such bad things for vibes.
Sure.
It does such bad things for vibes. It almost takes away the entire touchdown drive, how it felt. Mansour Delane makes an incredible play. Deflects the ball. Reed has thrown his 2nd pick, and we have the ball at the plus 49, LSU that is. Big run by the freshman Barry, and then you have the viral moment from last night where you have just real questions on the play calling. You have the exchange that they catch on camera between Brian Kelly and his offensive coordinator, where he's asking, like, why the fudge are we running this with the clock and no timeouts? Yeah. They're forced into a field goal, and it's 14-18 after half. Crowd has to feel ecstatic considering how A&M was playing offensively at that point in the game.
Yeah.
A&M has the ball first. The crowd should be roaring. The defense should get a huge stop. We should be able to have the ball 14-18 with a 4-point lead and be able to drive down and score and take a bigger lead. Nope. A&M goes 9 plays, 56 yards for a touchdown with conversions again on 2 third downs, one for 1 yard and 4 yards, so not as long. Of course, all started, though, with a big kick return by Terry Bussey.
Yep.
21-18, no big deal. We'll respond. Our offenses should be at least our best part. Garrett Nussmeier is going to respond against this defense. 3-and-out. Okay, it happens. Our defense is our calling card this year. We're going to respond with defense. The defense doesn't even get a chance to get on the field because it's a kick return touchdown for Casey Concepcion, and it was over at that point. LSU did not take advantage of the momentum at all. In the second half, A&M in the second half had 5 touchdowns on 5 drives. They did not score on one of them, but they only had 5 drives because one of the drives was a punt return touchdown.
Yeah.
They had 1 punt in the second half. LSU, their first 5 drives of the second half are 24 yards, 4 punts, and a turnover on downs.
Yeah.
Michael Van Buren, former Mississippi State Bulldog, not a Bulldog legend, has the scoring drive.
And no one
at the end of the
celebrates
game, and no
because
one
it's so
cares.
over.
No one celebrates because no one is in the game.
Yeah.
Just a complete failure to take advantage of momentum and what is argued by some the best home field advantage in the sport. And Gig'em and the Aggies and Mike Elko get to 8-0 and win a game in Death Valley. You get embarrassed for the second year in a row in your home stadium against an SEC opponent, and that might actually be the reason he got fired.
Probably.
On top of everything that had already been occurring.
I completely agree.
Diabolical.
And I think the thing I'm going to say is I don't think it should be too shocking they were unable to take advantage of momentum because the team just isn't good enough. Yeah. Like, even when A&M was making these bad plays, it was like, well, A&M's the better team, so they're going to be the team that is actually going to respond to the negative swing of momentum and go get the 3-and-out after the blocked punt. And the offense is going to bounce back after the Marcel Reed picks and not get rattled. And then we're going to come out in the second half where Mike Elko basically told them, you're the better team, why are y'all beating yourself? And they stopped beating themselves in the second half. How many passes do you think Marcel Reed threw in the second half?
13.
7.
3.
Die
He
ball.
threw 3 second-half passes, and we did that in
That's
Death
crazy.
Valley to LSU. And that is crazy is the right response because that should not happen. And A&M deserves all the praise for being able to do that, and it shows how far they've come and the way they're trending, as much as it also shows how far LSU has fallen.
Yeah.
And that they're trending the opposite way of A&M. One of Brian Kelly's first moves, and I'm sure you've seen this, has been all over social media, getting to LSU was firing the strength and conditioning coach that had been there and won 3 national titles with them. Been there through multiple head coaches. Fires him, he packs his bags, leaves in the rain. A&M hires him. He takes a photo on the field with his family after the game.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Apparently, he brought a tackling bag into practice this week with a picture of Brian Kelly's face on it.
That's awesome.
And the difference in physicality between the two teams showed, and it's been a trend we've talked about for LSU. It's almost like Brian Kelly nuked his LSU tenure from the start because he's not a culture fit. He doesn't get what LSU is about. But an unreal win from A&M. The offense has now scored 40-plus points in 4 straight road games, which is tied for the longest streak in SEC history. You dropped 40 in Death Valley, 40 at Notre Dame, 40 in Fayetteville, and then you dropped 40 at Auburn last year on the Plains. It's a great stretch. This offense is for sure legit. Defense isn't necessarily locked down, but yet again, LSU is 2 for 13 on third down, and you're now holding SEC opponents to 15% on third down conversions. And that number is probably not going to hold up because how in the world has it even held up this long?
I could.
But I think it shows what the play calling is and what Mike Elko and Jay Bateman do defensively to put our athletes in positions to win. It's pretty remarkable to watch. It's so fun. It's just nice to have a team with dogs and have guys like Casey Concepcion that can return that punt.
Yeah.
And even on the 3rd and 7 on our second drive when he catches the ball and it's Mansour Delane try and tackle him 4 yards in front of the stick, and he just puts his foot in the ground and cuts back the other way and then turns up field and gets 15 more yards.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. There's no Le'Veon Moss. Well, your true freshman running back catches a screen pass for a 30-yard touchdown and then destroys a guy on a spin move to get into the end zone later in the game. Just remarkable what Elko's done in year 2, getting the team to play this way, bringing in the talent required. Not that that's the hardest thing to do at A&M. It's kind of been that's been our calling card is talent and no success. But the talent was admittedly a little drained when Elko got there because of where Jimbo left it.
Yeah.
But just unreal. Surreal feelings. And now LSU has fired their coach, and they have to figure out what they're going to do next and who they're going to hire. And if you all have any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be... Yeah, I said at one point that I wanted to go back and look at the wildest coaching carousels we've seen. I don't think really that's necessary anymore. Even with a goldfish memory that I have, I don't think that there's a coaching carousel that has had this many job openings, big job openings. Penn State, LSU, Florida now open, Auburn that we expect to come open. That's just to name a few. It is insane. Rumors about Sark's agent letting NFL teams know that he is open to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Which he shut down the presser, but of course he did. Yeah,
okay.
And
He's
post game.
Yeah. That'll just be something to keep an eye on.
100%.
It's insane. The Virginia Tech job, not to leave that one out.
Yeah.
But like that. Sorry, I mean, if we're gonna I'll take this graphic down if we're gonna talk about coaching.
We'll do anything more on that game.
Oh,
before
sorry. Did you, JP? Go ahead.
No, but I do want to. Yes, actually, that's a lie.
But I want to talk about it.
I'm calling my shot. I think Trez Green is gonna be a star tight end down the road. He's not a good basketball player. He plays on the basketball team.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, but he's going to be a star tight end down the road.
He moves so well at the size he has.
Yeah, he's so athletic.
It's unreal. He's their best weapon.
The tight end play in college football this year has been incredible.
Yeah. Thank goodness LSU has no offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's all for me.
Okay.
Gig 'em.
With back to the coaching thing, there's just so many crazy job openings. It is the wildest carousel I think we have ever seen and probably will ever see.
Yeah.
And like I threw at the Virginia Tech job. Did y'all watch their game Friday night?
No, I don't. Sorry, I didn't watch the Hokies.
I had it on because it was Friday night, and I was
peeked
just
in
like
a couple times around the
I was
Spurs
watching
game.
the World Series.
Yeah. I had it on. It was insane. The crowd there, like, I have so much respect for the Virginia Tech fan base after the way they showed up for a team that's like 2-5, 3-5.
Yeah.
They're 4-4 now, I think.
Oh, so were they?
They were 3-4.
Okay. Well, they were not a
Under
good team.
500,
Yeah,
and
under
they don't have a head
500.
coach.
Fire their head coach.
Yeah.
You're playing on a Friday night. And they showed up, and I mean, the stadium was very full and very loud.
On that, it wasn't full. Come like the second quarter, the student section was 10% full.
They did drain pretty quick. It was
A
weird.
Virginia Tech game?
I have
Yeah.
on X video proof of that. So
Well, I was watching the end of it, and it was full. So maybe they didn't get
they
there.
must have had great camera angles.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe they pulled a Vandy, and they're like, oh, it's close. Let's all go to the game. I
Well,
don't know.
it's just the classic, like, it's full, and then the premium seating around the game is full, but then, like, the upper corners and
Yeah.
stuff are. It was more than 10%. He's being dramatic, but it
Yeah.
did drain pretty quick. Still cool to see. It's a good environment.
Yeah, they continue to sell out that stadium.
I just
so.
don't think they have the money, athletic department wise, to really compete.
Yeah.
But that is a job that is. It's crazy. That's almost an afterthought in this coaching carousel because
Yeah.
it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But you have LSU, Florida. Florida State's not open yet. I think it will be.
Yeah, like that job opening makes this coaching carousel the SEC of coaching carousels as opposed to the Big Ten of coaching carousels.
The depth.
It's got the depth.
Sure. I like that analogy.
I'm fine with that.
Do we want to move on to our? Oh, go ahead.
I just want to ask one question. Your first call is LSU. Who you calling?
James Franklin,
Okay.
unironically,
Your first
I
call.
think I also think it's James Franklin.
because
Okay.
I think he can get the talent. They will still be able to recruit well, regardless. Clearly,
Yeah.
But I think he, with that talent, is going to put LSU in a ton of games where they'll be favored. And what does he do? He wins games in which he is favored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that is good enough. I also think maybe they can have some delusion and think that they can be in a spot that, he'll actually win the games there. But he's on the same page as them in terms of what do they want. He wants to win a national championship. They want to win a national championship.
Yeah.
And he's a very quality coach. And I think that would be my first call. Also, like, it's going to help you a ton money-wise because he doesn't have to get paid that much. You could pay him a couple bucks, which would be kind of slimy.
Yeah.
But they pay him, $5 million a year? And
They'll give him a deal laden with incentives that
Yeah.
maybe doesn't have the highest base salary, but he'll still get his.
Would you say that, like, if you were to make a tier ranking of coaches, you would label as available, right? So, like, not DeBoer, not Kirby, not Sark. Would
Yeah.
you say he's, like, the top of that list?
I would not.
I wouldn't say...
I would have
he's-
Lane Kiffin
No,
one.
he's not at the top of the list. I'd have Lane Kiffin 1 as well, and I think there's separation between those two. But I think he is one of the higher ones up there.
Sure.
In terms of, like, proven commodities, like, LSU is not going to hire an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator like Oregon did with
Yeah.
Dan Lanning that had
Yeah.
just never coached before.
And they're
And they're also, like, I think you were going to say, they're not going to hire John Sumrall
Right,
from
a G5
Tulane.
coach. Yeah.
They're not going to hire a G5 head coach, and they're not going to hire, like, Dan Mullen from UNLV, who has coached in the Power 5, but that just doesn't make any sense. He's
Yeah.
not on the same page. There's a reason he was fired at Florida. So I think James Franklin is right there at the top of the list for LSU. I think that's my first call.
Yeah. I mean, we all know who
They should go after Lane Kiffin, but it just doesn't make sense.
Scott Woodward tried to hire last time, who is available.
I don't know off the top of my head.
One James Jimbo Fisher.
Oh, that's awesome.
Interesting.
I'm just joshing. All right, let's get to our last segment.
That would be
For
fun.
our last game.
All right, how are we
Preview.
gonna thank our?
I got it. I'm
Yeah, you
locked
got
and
it.
loaded. We now get to what has become the most popular segment on this show, and that is anytime we do a BYU review or preview any sort of the nature. And we appreciate all the love from our BYU fans that have become fans of the podcast. It means a lot to us, and it's fun to follow this team that is still undefeated, has a cool story in Bear Bachmeyer. What a name and what a number he wears. And it's just a kid that doesn't play anything like a freshman. He outduels what I thought and most people think of as a very quality veteran quarterback in this conference that isn't going to make mistakes. Well, he made mistakes in this game, throws 3 picks, including one that ends up being a pick 6. And Iowa State turns the ball over 4 times as BYU wins on the road 41-27. And their dream season, or back-to-back dream seasons, continue for this BYU team. Y'all's thoughts on this game?
For me, just it continues what I continue to reiterate, and why I picked them to win this game. Not only because we have a lot of fans that are BYU fans, but they have shown competitive resolve, and they showed it against Utah, and the way that they responded late in that game. And they were punched in the mouth immediately on the road against Iowa State. The first play from scrimmage is a 75-yard touchdown for Rocco Beck and the Cyclones. And what does Bear Bachmeier do? Freshman on the road at Iowa State in a game that they're not favored in. They're the 11th team in the country. This is just screaming upset. BYU hasn't played anybody. He goes 5 plays, 68 yards, and scores a touchdown of his own. And they're immediately tied back up, and they're not behind that much. Unfortunately, he goes 3 and out, post them kicking a field goal, and he's right there down 17-7. But Rocco Beck puts BYU back in the game. That first pick that can't happen. It allows the Cougars to be right back in the game. Bear Bachmeier goes down and scores 3 points. And then Iowa State, to Rocco Beck's credit, responded. But I give again credit to BYU. From that drive, they score 3 straight drives in a row. 17 points, and they take the lead, and they aren't behind at any point for the rest of the game because of their defensive play in turning Rocco Beck over. And then, like Jack said, Bear Bachmeier was incredible the entire game. 307 yards for a true freshman on the road, 2 touchdowns, and leads the team in rushing as well. LJ Martin is not really a factor in this game whatsoever, which
Iowa State did a great job limiting the run all night.
It shocked all of us, of course. I'm sure it shocked BYU fans. But Parker Kingston, maybe a future star.
I mean, him and Chase Roberts combined for like 260 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kingston
Huge playmakers on the outside.
Was showing speed, and then he makes a spectacular catch for a touchdown late in the game as well. I thought RG3 did a great job in describing it, how he plays such a valuable role for BYU, in that he is incredible, 1, with the speed because he's a former track star, 2, with his ability to catch difficult balls, and 3, with his ability, he's just like really savvy in finding weak spots in the defense. And his other touchdown was that he was just found a spot right behind the defense, running on the back line of the end zone, and Bears able to find him for a touchdown. Kalani Sitake has his Cougars at 8-0, and everything is out in front of them for BYU. They play at Texas Tech and Cincinnati still, so still a lot of work to go. But what kept them out of the Big 12 championship last year was tiebreaker, and they lost the tiebreaker to Iowa State. They had the same conference record. They get the win over Iowa State, and that can't be a part of the story this year anymore. Sure. And so another huge win for BYU. And I can't wait to see what they continue to do down the road with a big game against Texas Tech coming up.
And I love that they get a bye.
Yes,
right.
It's huge.
They played yesterday,
so
and they get a bye, and they go into the stretch where you have to play at Texas Tech. TCU has picked up a couple losses, but that's, in my opinion, a top 3rd Big 12 team, and they have a great quarterback in Josh Hoover, good passing attack. And then it's at Cincinnati, and then you kind of get the easier game versus UCF. It's home. My apologies to end the season. But it's the hardest stretch of your season, and so having the bye right before that I really love. It should just be very helpful for them, get their bodies right, get their minds right, kind of a reset. And I'm hyped for that Texas Tech game. That game will 100% be previewed on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt.
We might preview every game going forward.
Might have to.
Sanders, you have thoughts?
Yeah, well, looking forward for BYU, the season, it's not done yet, but right now it looks eerily similar to last year. You start out, I believe, 9-0, 8-0, and then you lose 2 of your last 3. I just had their 20. Oh, here it is. Yeah, you lose 2 of your last 3 to Kansas, a game you really probably shouldn't have lost.
Yeah,
and then at Arizona State, the eventual Big 12 champions and a college football playoff team. the bye is super big for that because you can't have that same kind of run where you start the season 9-0. You're ranked in the top 25. I don't know exactly where they were ranked 6. They were ranked 6 when they lost to Kansas. When BYU lost to Kansas.
Yep.
That's something you got to avoid repeating this year. You're a top 10 team right now. I believe they are ranked 10th right now. So that's not to dog on them. That's just like a cautionary, like they've been in this situation before
Correct.
with everything ahead of them. Like they are in the driver's seat in the Big 12, driver's seat for a playoff spot, driver's seat for a first-round bye.
Yeah. Go deliver this time.
Yeah, this is the year where with a freshman quarterback, you have to go and finish it out.
Which I also want to say, because you're correct, cautionary tale, you can't do the same thing as last year. You come out of the bye and lose to Texas Tech, no panic.
No, none
Agreed.
at all.
That's a great team in Texas Tech. It's a tough matchup. It's there.
It's a tough place to play.
Correct. Just bounce back and handle business from there. Don't let it unravel from there because that's losing Texas Tech, which I know you weren't saying this.
No.
It's not like losing at Kansas. We
Yes.
lose at Kansas
No.
last year. But just finish. That should be, and I'm sure they're going to hammer on it a ton over the bye week. It's something A&M. Me as an A&M fan. They've hammered on a ton this year because last year we were in a great spot and we didn't finish either, just like BYU. Well, this year we can't make that same mistake again. Gotta finish.
Yeah, I think that they have a very. I would probably pick them to go like 3-1 or better down the stretch. I wouldn't pick them to lose 2 games with the schedule they have left.
Yeah.
And losing to Texas Tech won't matter really in terms of making the Big 12 championship.
No.
Unless for some odd reason, which another one of our fan favorites, Houston,
Just goes off.
undefeated through the Big 12, the rest of the Big 12, and they potentially own the tiebreaker.
Because you play
But you
Cincinnati.
get to play Cincinnati,
Yeah, exactly.
who's the only other undefeated team in the Big 12 right now. And so winning that game pretty much would solidify you at 1 loss and put you right there in the Big 12 championship, even if you were to lose to Texas Tech. And Cincinnati goes on the road to Utah this week. That is where College Game Day is. Cincinnati at Utah, a ranked matchup. And so Cincinnati may have that 1 loss as well. So you could even potentially – no, you can't lose to Cincinnati in that case. But it, like Jack is saying, I agree. Losing next week's to Texas Tech in 2 weeks off the bye to Texas Tech, no panic, but
Go
finish.
win it at the same time.
Unfortunately, it's like from a football perspective, it's crazy to now say, okay, you got to finish it when you have a freshman quarterback as opposed to last year when you had Retzloff and he had the veteran experience and everything right there. It sucks to not have Retzloff at this point in the season, but unfortunately that's how things have transpired, and they have not allowed that to slow them down.
I would love to hear from BYU fans because we talked about the adjusting of expectations mid-season, right? This wasn't supposed to be your best year because the QB leaves, but now you're in the spot, you're 8-0. If you lose those 2 games, say you lose at Cincinnati, at Texas Tech, you don't make the Big 12 title game, you don't make the playoffs. Like, are you all still going to be really happy with that season? Is that a big success? That's a 10-win season. You won the Holy War. You beat your rivals. Or is it going to be like, oh, man, because of how we started, I feel like we let an opportunity slip away.
Yeah.
I just don't know because I'm not a part of that fan base. So I'd love to hear in the comments y'all's thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Real quick.
Yeah.
JP, you just because this is related to BYU and the Big 12 championship.
I have one thing as well. You
made that slight reference to Houston winning out. They are the rest of their schedule is West Virginia, at UCF, TCU, and at Baylor. So a very winnable, outable schedule.
In theory,
Yeah.
but I just think Houston, I don't think, has shown what BYU has shown.
Not at all.
Exactly. And Houston isn't going to be the deepest team. They're going to be a team that I think they're going to struggle to not falter down the stretch as injuries and wear and tear mount up.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think they're going to be hard-pressed to win at home against TCU and also at the road at Baylor. That feels
Agreed.
like a split situation.
Yeah.
Where you finish your season 10-2, which once again, that's a massive, incredible success for Houston and Willie Fritz and that squad.
Dude, their win-loss might have been 3.5.
I think it was 4.5.
Okay, I do too, but I could even see where it was 3.5. Last thing though on this game, like Iowa State, man, I think you just have to feel nothing but disappointment.
100%.
I'm wondering what Pate's gonna say about it tonight. But to start 5-0 and then lose your last 3 games, kind of sucks. To say the least. You kind of felt like you were. They were the Big 12 favorites at one point.
I had them ranked top 15.
Yeah, everybody had them ranked very high, and then for whatever reason, you're surprised when you're not favored at Cincinnati. You don't go handle that, and you lose to Cincinnati. You respond to that by losing to Deion Sanders in Colorado, and then you lose this game to BYU when everything was still kind of in front of you. This is a huge way to knock down a team that's undefeated in the Big 12, and you can't get it done. It's just it kind of sucks. I think it may hinder for Matt Campbell his ability to go get one of these big jobs coming up. He may still get it, and it actually may end up being more reason for him to go get it because he just at this point feels like he can't get what he wants at Iowa State, and he thinks maybe more is out there in front of him. But it's just unfortunate what a way to fumble this season. But in large part, it is because they didn't do a good enough job in the offseason preparing this team after the loss of Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins, both to the Houston Texans. Their receiving game has just not been good enough, having to rely so much on the tight ends and then Abu Sama and Carson Hansen. It's been a struggle, and Beck has not been great. 10 touchdowns, 6 picks this year. It's tough. It's really tough. You got to feel bad for an Iowa State fan. Beck only threw 9 picks last year and had 25 touchdowns, which he is clearly not on pace for that whatsoever. Yeah. Tough for the Cyclones in a year that started so you win the first game of the season and you feel like you beat a Big 12 favorite in Kansas State, and here we are, 3 losses in a row.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Beck just because I remember, especially in the preview, we talked about him, redshirt sophomore, could go to the draft and get drafted not high, but he would be, he'd be drafted in one of the 7 rounds this year. Will come back next year, develop further. You liked him a lot, and he's kind of the turnovers are what lost in the game. They kind of outperformed BYU in all the big stats. They outrushed them, they outpassed them. They had less penalties, they had more first downs, they were more efficient on 3rd down, 1 for 3 on 4th down. BYU goes 3 for 3. Average more yards per play, more yards per rush. Longer time of possession, but they have 3 interceptions and a fumble, and that's kind of what cooked them. As that both TVs go out, both TVs are back. I hope we're still live. I wonder if we just lost power.
Look live.
Why were the only 2 things?
No, we didn't lose power because the lights didn't go.
Yeah,
we're good. I mean, it's still taking live.
I'm going to go.
Wow, this is trippy.
Yeah, I'm going to go pull us up on YouTube because I'm not sure.
We're still live.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have you reacting to the TVs doing that.
Okay, cool. Anyway, Rocco Becht has kind of a bad game, and it ends up being a big part of the reason they lost after after outperforming BYU in basically every other stat.
Yeah. I mean, kind of both of what y'all said. Thanks, Miss Oakley, for the confirmation
that we are live.
It's hard for Iowa State. They're not the program that just is going to be able to reload year in and year out. They're going to go through their swells and valleys more so than some other programs because of their position in the larger college football landscape. And so I think that's why, like you said, the receivers leave. They can't replace them, and that's why I think we're seeing a drop in production from Rocco Becht. And maybe this is copium because I'm a Rocco Becht guy. I think maybe it'll be a bit of a down year for the whole team, and then they can hopefully get back up on the upswing next year.
Maybe.
And reload.
In the video game, Matt Campbell almost immediately leaves pretty much every time for a new job.
I think people will come calling this year. There's a lot of openings.
Rocco Becht, in at least the 2 seasons that I've played through this year, transfers to Alabama, and he won the Heisman both times.
That's crazy.
So
maybe I'm just wrong. Well, I mean, I could be wrong. I just feel like if you're a Matt Campbell guy as the QB, you're not leaving. Unless, maybe if the wheels fall off this season. Say they somehow don't win another game and he plays terribly. Sure. But as long as the relationship stays good, I don't think he's going to be swayed away by some big offer.
I would think he might.
Becht or Campbell?
Becht.
Okay.
I think Beck might follow Campbell too.
Yeah.
Agreed.
If Campbell were to take a job,
Matt Rule
even like
to
the
Penn
Penn
State,
State job. Matt Rule to Penn State. What about it?
and then Campbell to Nebraska.
Oh, okay. I'm down. Does Raiola follow Matt Rule to Penn State?
I think
That would
he-
be hilarious.
That
Considering
would be
the Drew Aller quarterback play of the past few years.
Yeah.
To go, and then you have Trace McSorley and that whole joke, Sean Clifford, and then now you have Dylan Raiola as your quarterback with Matt Rule. I don't know
But
Penn
would-
State fans are going to like
They
that.
would not.
But would Raiola leave Nebraska? Because that's close to Kansas City. Like, do you think he cares about proximity to Kansas City?
He should. Maybe he just goes back to Georgia.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Georgia wants
No,
him at
Georgia
this point.
doesn't. I don't know. But let's get on to the stock market. Why don't we?
Is that it? Are we done with games?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the 5 games we
Yeah.
reviewed.
Only took us 2 hours 40 minutes.
Big. All right, guys. Here's a collection of my stock market takes and our friends' stock market takes and fans' stock market takes.
That being said, if you don't follow us on Twitter, go follow us on Twitter, and we post
Yeah, we can get
every
your
week
input.
like what should we do. These are Jack and then also y'all's stock market.
This comes from a friend. Buy or sell Mississippi State only wins the Egg Bowl. That's the only game they win the rest of the season is the Egg Bowl. I'm going to sell because I don't see them winning the Egg Bowl, so it doesn't matter what they do in the rest of their games.
Well, that's not kind.
I think it's way more likely you beat Arkansas than Ole Miss. So
I'm gonna sell because we're gonna be 6-5 come the Egg Bowl, and I
Yep.
already went through that earlier. So if you are dumbfounded by that, please go watch our Mississippi State versus Texas reaction, and that will also may dumbfound you too, considering the rant that I go on to then say that.
I think you talked by yourself for like probably 14 minutes, 20 minutes.
Rightfully so.
No, it was
I just
great.
sat here and was like, man, I really have to pee. I need this segment to end.
But I'm
It
gonna
was good stuff,
I'm gonna
JP.
sell. It would be poetic for us to only win the Egg Bowl, and I'd take that in a heartbeat right now.
Yeah.
But I think we're winning 2 games prior to that, so let me sell
Sure.
in a positive way. I don't
Sure.
know. Also, don't I think that actually is our least likely game to win. I'm not gonna lie.
Over
even-
Georgia. You think
Even
Georgia?
factoring in the rivalry boost.
Yeah, I do
Okay.
think that is the hardest one for us to win because I don't see an avenue of us shutting down Lane Kiffin
Yeah.
in an Egg Bowl offensively.
You have to score a
At this
buttload of
point.
points.
Like the one Egg Bowl we did beat Lane Kiffin in, he beat himself for the most part, and Will Rogers was just magnificent.
Shout out, Will.
And also still a lot of dark magic had to go into that as well.
Some guy talked to me about Will Rogers yesterday because we're rocking my Washington Huskies jersey.
Mhm.
Talking about how he knew Will Rogers and he was neighbors with Gardner Minshew.
Crazy.
So
That's sick.
yeah,
I
the
will
Washington
also
love.
sell just because, or for all those reasons. And also, if we haven't won an SEC game going into that game, I don't expect that to be the game we figure out winning an SEC game. I don't think we
Also
have.
fair.
I don't think that we're gonna suddenly like develop some sort of clutch gene, which we have lacked in all but one game this year.
yeah.
And just figure that out on
Sure.
probably the biggest stage of a Mississippi State season is the Egg Bowl.
Yeah.
So
Next buy or sell, and you may have to do some research if you're watching for this one and don't remember these jerseys, but the Miami Hurricane jerseys from last night, their camo ones, are worse than the Florida Gator skin jerseys they broke out in 2018, I believe. It was against A&M, so I had a front row seat to those jerseys. I'll start while y'all are looking them up. I think the Miami jerseys are worse. So I'm going to buy this stock.
I think I just put up the Florida jerseys.
And it could
They're-
very well be recency bias.
You
but
said you think they might. No, the Florida jerseys.
the Florida jerseys are really bad.
I think the Florida jerseys are worse.
The Miami jerseys are gross.
Can I say they're both terrible?
Yeah, you can just forego the stock if you want.
If I had to pick one, for me, I would say I would buy because one of my favorite jokes of the week, which is just a layup joke, was Carson Beck throws all those picks, and then they're going to wear jerseys, and he can't even see his receivers, which I thought was obviously hilarious. Camo jokes are always funny.
I wonder how many times the announcers use that as like, because I remember watching the Florida game against A&M. The announcers talked all the time how Kellen Mond's going to throw an accidental pick because he's not going to be able to see a Florida receiver. I wonder if they were making those jokes, but it was Miami versus Stanford, so I was not watching that game.
I'm going to go with the Florida jerseys look worse.
Okay, so you're selling.
Yes, I'm going to sell.
Buy, sell.
How does this stock trend up and down?
Oh, it doesn't. It
okay,
doesn't.
because I feel like this is just, okay, cool.
It's just a funny topic.
Also, JP, you've been called out for your pants. Would you like to defend them to your
By who?
girlfriend, Abby?
Oh,
He's repping Green Bay.
what do you mean?
Yeah, for
what
those
am
of
I
y'all
wearing?
listening back, Abby, JP's girlfriend, said in the chat, "What the heck are you wearing?"
I am wearing pajama pants for the Green Bay Packers, who are playing right now, and I'm wearing my work hoodie from Toyota.
Nice.
And I wanted to dress for a representation of how I'm sure a lot of State fans felt today, which is I now only care about my NFL team, and I don't care enough to dress up nice up top either.
Feels like a need for comfort type
Yeah,
thing.
it's like
Yes.
I just don't want to get out of bed today. Kind
Exactly.
Of thing.
I felt that way last night. I watched a movie on Netflix, A House of Dynamite, that just came out, instead of
Football?
watching more football.
Valid.
So
Valid.
that is what I'm wearing and why I'm wearing it.
So who bought and sold? I sold.
I bought. JP bought.
Okay.
Next one. Buy or sell 6 or more SEC schools will have a new head coach by week 1 of next year.
This is a good one.
Well, you
so-
can already go through the ones
Shout
that
out
are
Brandon.
guaranteed.
So
Florida?
LSU, Florida, Arkansas.
Mhm.
Am I forgetting one?
Those are the 3 that are guaranteed right now.
Yeah. Odds are I think the South Carolina job opens.
Sure.
Because in my opinion,
Auburn,
Beamer leaves. I think the Auburn job opens, and that gets you to 5.
Kentucky.
I don't think the Kentucky job opens because of the buyout.
This goes into whether you're
yeah,
buying or
correct.
selling at this point, though.
That's my personal opinion.
There's a chance, small, that Texas opens.
This is correct.
So does this count if Eli goes to Florida or Elia Drinkowitz goes to Florida and Kiffin goes to LSU? Like that counts,
Yes.
right? That would
Yes.
be okay.
So actually, that's
so
a good point. 'Cause
coaches
I think
moving around.
I think Kiffin leaves, so that gets you to 6.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's just the schools have a new head coach. It's not that
Yeah.
there's 6 new
Yeah.
coaches in the SEC.
And so if Kiffin doesn't go to Florida and Drinkowitz is their second option and he does, like that,
Yeah,
I think
I'm
I think you're
buying.
at 6 pretty comfortably.
I'm buying. It's just the thing of like, what if Auburn somehow Hugh Freeze goes on a little mini run? Auburn doesn't fire Hugh Freeze.
I don't think.
Because how have they not fired him yet? Shane Beamer doesn't take the Virginia Tech job.
Yeah.
I think you're almost looking at maybe we could get to 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think. But then what if you flip it and Sarkisian goes to the NFL?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Oh, well, for sure. I mean, it's
Because
there's high variance here.
apparently Sarkisian's agent and Kiffin's agent are the same.
It's Jimmy Sexton.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So so people are like, oh, he's trying to push Steve to the NFL to get his other guys bigger pays in
Yeah.
the SEC.
And
I don't
then
know.
Mike Elko goes to Texas.
True.
Brandon makes the point.
Jeff Lebby could
MSU
get
is
fired.
a long shot.
Yeah,
It's a
I wouldn't be
possibility.
surprised about Levy.
Oklahoma loses out. Venables gets fired.
Yep.
Mike
Yep.
Elko gets hired by
I don't even
Penn
know
State.
if it takes losing out. I think losing a couple of your.
I don't know.
Yeah, it might take losing out.
I would
probably
take losing out. It would take losing to Missouri and LSU at home to lose that job. Clark Lee from Vanderbilt ascends
True.
Yeah.
to some job. Maybe he gets like the Penn State job
Yeah.
because Vanderbilt is the 9th ranked team in the country right now. If you didn't know,
And he
which-
does win the games. He's not necessarily. I mean, I guess they've been favored in the Missouri game, the LSU game. They weren't favored
he
in
won
Alabama
the-
last
yeah,
year.
He won the Bama game, which
Yeah.
kind of all that matters. Yeah, you might be looking at half.
I think we're all buying here.
Yes.
All right, what are the odds? Every coach. No, I'm kidding.
I'm selling.
Yeah, I'll buy 6. I'll buy 6.
Next one. Buy or sell. BYU makes the playoffs. Likely means they can only lose 1 game the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And then
They'd have to lose in the Big 12 championship. I think is the only way.
only way could have 2 losses, and I think that's very possible that a 2-loss BYU with a loss in the Big 12 championship gets in.
The odds per FanDuel, which I texted earlier,
Yeah.
yes at plus 290, so 3-1 essentially, and no at minus 385. So a little bit more edge to if you were to buy it. You could almost 3 extra money if they were to make the playoff. If you were trading this on Kalshi, which if you've been on Kalshi, please let me know in the chat because that is diabolical. And
I
need
think
to
you
know
need to
what
call
your
the number,
experience is on that.
personally.
Yes.
If I see the stupid AI call she had one more time of the congressman or whatever,
What is
I'm
call
gonna
sheet?
lose.
Is that the where you can buy and sell
You're buying and selling stocks.
of teams instead of betting on them?
It's like what Robinhood has right now.
I haven't
you can
used
buy
how to
and
do that.
sell.
it feels a lot more degenerate than Robinhood, and I think it's
It
just
does.
the presentation and their advertising.
Look, I've never been on it, but apparently you can you can buy or sell like this segment, whether or not it's going to rain in Florida tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
You can buy the ad I'm talking about or the commercial I'm talking about. It's buy or sell. When the government lockdown ends.
Yes.
That's crazy. So you're not. It's not just a sports thing. You can buy and sell everything.
Basically,
Politics.
It's
apparently
so
the weather,
degenerate. It's so degenerate.
Sports, of course.
Okay. See, I missed that. I thought you were just talking about the sports part being degenerate, but it's everything else.
Oh, it's everything. Yeah, if you have been on Kalshi, which we should get. Can you imagine Kalshi's
That'd be a sellout
sponsoring
moment
this
from
segment?
us.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Buy or sell presented by
fits.
call sheet.
For the price, we would
does.
do it. For the price.
It
Yeah.
fits
For the right price.
perfectly.
I'd rather get Robin Hood on our side.
Okay.
Way less likely.
But
Wait, so-
back to the question
Yeah,
was
BYU
to make the playoff. Yes is 3-1, and no is 1-4 essentially.
Yeah.
I was the one that introduced this one. Yes, Jerome Powell is stepping down. That is another one of those ads. I'm going to buy BYU because we are a BYU podcast, and I would say I'm the biggest BYU guy here. Fair? Okay.
Bigger than me anyway. I
Really?
won't speak for,
You
I
think
won't
you're
speak
bigger
for
on
Sanders.
BYU?
I just don't. I thought we were all equally not BYU.
I think I'm
fans.
just slightly more BYU because I did pick them.
If I'm remembering,
Didn't you guys pick
if I'm
Iowa State?
remembering correctly,
I
all-
picked
never
them
mind,
to
you're
go over on the season win total. I was in on BYU from the beginning.
okay.
So
I
I'm
don't-
going to buy.
I don't remember what I
regardless.
did.
I-
Personally,
for this week,
I've been the lowest. I will definitely confirm that.
We
we
all
all
picked
picked
them to
BYU,
cover.
and
Yeah.
I picked BYU to go over their season win total. I bought in on the quarterback, and y'all all sold.
Okay,
so
but what about the Utah game?
Well, we didn't
What
sell.
happened in the Utah game?
Who? All right,
Who
cool.
picked who
Let's
in
go
the
back.
Utah game?
BYU. What week was that?
Jay- was
JP
2
picked
weeks
BYU.
ago. I was the only one to pick BYU. So, yes, I am the BYU guy on this show.
Valid.
All right, I'm
Um,
gonna go back and find our BYU preview and listen to me hype them up while y'all tore them down.
Who's the real BYU guy? Buy or sell?
We'll let the BYU fans decide.
I'm going to take BYU to make the playoff.
I will as well.
I think they've got what they need to. They have 2 tough road games left at Cincinnati and at Texas Tech in 2 weeks, Cincinnati in 4 weeks, and, of course, still 2 other Big 12 games after that as well. But I think they'll get it done, and I think they'll be in the Big 12 championship, and I think they'll make it even if they lost, because if they're undefeated in the Big 12 championship, they may be 7th or 6th in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good save. Thank you.
Well done.
And I think that's just really hard to knock them out of the top 12 at
Yeah.
that point.
I think that's fair. I already said I'm going to buy.
Yeah. What? So you say if they're 12-0, what if they do drop one of those tough road games? They're 11-1 in the Big 12, and they
Then
lose
they
the
need
Big
to
12
win the
championship.
They need to win
You
the
don't
Big 12
think?
championship.
I don't know. They do because we've already got the precedent of SMU. SMU goes 11-1 and loses the ACC championship, and they make it, losing to Clemson. Where I'm going to assume, I'm not going to assume. Let's theorize that
Sure.
BYU loses to Texas Tech.
Sure.
That's a better loss than the Clemson loss. I think that they could still make it in.
But I think the difference is last year, SMU did that, but the teams that they were in a debate for with the spot were a 9-3 Alabama, who had lost to Vanderbilt,
Yeah.
and had lost 2 other games on the road to Oklahoma. It was 6-6 as well, and
Yeah.
Tennessee. South Carolina was in that conversation, but South Carolina had a really bad start to the season. At one point, I believe they were 3-3,
Yeah.
or 4-3, and then there was one other team as well. And I just didn't think there was no
There was
debate for
10,
that.
10-2 Miami.
10-2 Miami, but Miami had lost to Georgia Tech and Syracuse.
Yeah.
And they were also same conference.
So there was a debate there. I think there's a way better chance that we're going to have 3 to maybe even 4 SEC teams having a better argument than a 11-2 BYU.
They would be in a tough spot, I think, if they lost it. But they could get in. It's not like I'm slamming the door.
I think that the precedent is already there that losing like 11. So if 11, I'm saying if an 11-1 BYU is ahead of those 10-2 SEC teams,
Sure.
I think the precedent might be there that they're not going to punish you because you had to play an extra game. Those teams didn't have to play.
That's only
fair.
happened one time.
Yeah.
I would say I just struggled. Precedent, we've had one
Yeah.
Jimbo. So
Yeah. All right. So
that was a big conversation last year too. So
Yeah,
I
and
think
I'll
it will
also
be brought
buy.
up again.
cool.
As we should.
I think since we all bought this one, I know where we're going with this next one. But buy or sell the Houston Cougars to make the playoffs. They already have a loss. They're not undefeated like BYU, so you'd almost have to expect them to run the table. They have an easier schedule than BYU does, but I talked about it earlier on the show. Their last 2 games are home against TCU and then at Baylor, and I see them splitting those 2 games, and so I'm going to sell this stock.
I will go ahead. I'll buy. Partially as a troll.
Okay.
Partially,
So
to
both these teams run the table and meet in the
Big 12 championship, and Houston beats BYU. And is that a rematch? Or does that already happen?
Houston
that'd be the
play
first
BYU.
time. That'll
Yeah.
be the first time they've played.
Okay.
Houston beats BYU. Houston gets the auto bid. BYU is the at large. Because I do really like Houston's schedule down the stretch, and I get that you're saying they don't have the same depth as even some of the better Big 12 teams, and then a lot of the top end of the other conferences. But the teams left on their schedule are kind of like 2 of the bottom teams in the Big 12. You got West Virginia and UCF.
Yeah.
Then you've got TCU at home, and TCU has improved throughout the season after starting out not great, I
I
believe.
mean, they're your Big 12 champion
They
pick.
were my Big 12 champion pick.
So
No, wait, I flipped last
that's
second
right.
to
because
Arizona State.
They were my Big 12 champion pick.
And then you go to Baylor. All 4 of those are winnable. 2 of them I feel like you should win. You'll be favored in.
Yeah.
They'll probably be favored at West Virginia, right? I don't know how
They
much
host West Virginia, so in the
Yes,
cage.
at UCF. They'll probably be favored at
You're
UCF.
easily favored in the cage.
Yeah. So I'll for fun, I'll pick them to go undefeated and then
All
face
right.
BYU
I hope it
in
happens.
the Big 12 championship. That would be electric.
It would.
And then Houston wins, they get the auto bid, and BYU, because they are 11-2, gets the at large.
So
JP's about to toss the odds in her face.
yeah, I'm a gambler, and
Sure.
so I believe in the odds and I trust the odds, and Vegas knows that we've said that a few times on the show.
Sure.
Houston is tied with TCU for the same odds to win the Big 12 championship. They're at plus 2,000.
Not great. That's good. That's good value. You could get some good bones.
I was about to say,
you
if
put a
I
unit on that.
parlay Houston to win the Big 12
That's
and
the-
BYU to make the playoffs,
Win the Big 12, which for whatever reason, now this makes no sense. Odds Houston makes the playoff is plus 1,300. They have better odds to make the playoff than they do to win the Big 12, and they have 1 loss in the Big 12 already. That it makes no sense to me.
You think they'd
which
be
is
the
why I would think they'd be the
Yeah.
same, or
yeah.
in fact,
No, they
maybe
should be the same.
slightly.
No, they should be the same.
If you're talking your precedent with the not eliminating a conference champion team that was in the game,
Well, then they wouldn't have. Oh, I see. Yeah, I see.
they
what you're
wouldn't have
saying.
won the Big
Yeah.
12.
You think
but
it'd
they
be
would have
slightly
odds.
better? Sure.
I think it would be slightly better, not 700. That's 7x difference. Yeah, I just don't. Vegas doesn't see it as a possibility, and I don't. Obviously, it would be a Cinderella run, and I will cheer for it. But I don't see it as a possibility that
Sure.
they have worse odds. They have the same odds as a 2-loss Big 12 team in TCU and Utah, who has looked bad in games, and they are
Yeah.
just so far separated from BYU, Cincinnati, and Texas Tech.
Yeah. Cool. So
You gonna sell? I assume?
yeah, I sold to start the
Oh yeah, you
the
did.
segment
All right, sell.
or start the question. Next one: buy or sell at least 2 Power 4 teams finish undefeated. So unless I missed one, you have Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia Tech, A&M, BYU. So 2 have to stay undefeated through the regular season. In my mind, it was through conference championship weekend.
Okay,
So they have to go 13-0.
Yes.
do that instead.
That's what I meant. So that's not the regular season, but that basically means Ohio State and Indiana cannot both be undefeated.
Only one.
Only one.
So is Georgia Tech, BYU, A&M, Indiana, Ohio State. That's the 5 you said?
Yes.
Cool.
And so, in my opinion, I think one of those is going to end up being undefeated. I think the odds are there.
Easily.
And so then it's just you think Georgia Tech, A&M, or BYU can run the table.
I'll go and say no.
It's a really good question.
I don't think Georgia Tech already almost lost to Wake Forest. Let me look at the schedules of these teams before I.
So I can go ahead and talk about
finish
A&M real quick.
Go ahead.
A&M, they're looking at their hardest games left. They're on a bye right now. Then you go
Good time for a bye.
at Missouri. I agree. You go at Missouri, and then it's home against South Carolina.
Yep.
And then it's Samford, and then it's at Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also, on top of that, have to go win the SEC championship game, whoever it's against, if you even get there, right? So that seems like a pretty tough road. I don't think it's out of the question, but that's a very tough road. We've already talked about the BYU path. You're looking at having to beat Texas Tech and Cincinnati, and then
probably one of them again.
And probably one of them again. Georgia Tech probably has a pretty favorable schedule left, except they're going to have to beat Georgia, and that's a very tough game.
And then you got to beat an ACC team that's
Yeah.
UVA, Louisville.
Yeah.
Not
Miami.
easy. Or Miami, yeah.
I'm still going to buy, though, because I think one of these teams finds a way to get it done. And I'm leaning Georgia Tech or A&M to find a way through it. That's where I'm at.
I'm going to say I'm buying as well. I feel like we're going to get one of those stories of A&M going undefeated and winning the SEC championship being 13-0, insane. Georgia Tech being 13-0, insane. Or BYU being undefeated and 13-0, insane. But it's college football. Insane happens.
Yeah. I think I'm going to sell.
All right.
Because I think all these teams have tough games left in their schedule.
I guarantee it'd be plus money for this to happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think they all have tough games on their schedule. And the other thing is, college football is insane. So that's not to say, Georgia Tech could lose at NC State this weekend.
Sure.
I don't know A&M. I don't know what the insane upset would be. They're not losing
It'd be
to
losing.
Samford.
It'd be losing at home to South Carolina.
Yeah. Like that. And that could happen. It's not likely at all. But that,
I will be despondent if that happens.
Yeah. Lenore Sellers just goes absolutely
Also, it is
sicko
college
mode.
football, so maybe Ohio State loses to Michigan like they always do, and then they turn around and beat Indiana in the
That'd be crazy.
Big Ten
Yeah.
championship game, and neither of them are undefeated.
So both y'all bought.
Yep.
I will sell.
And that gets us to our last one, which is Fernando Mendoza out of football after first NFL contract. And this comes as, I think the technical buy and sell was Fernando Mendoza is like an insurance salesman.
Stockbroker.
A stockbroker in 5 years. So I tweaked it a little bit because to me in 5 years it's probably around the end of his first NFL contract.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sell because I think he's going to get drafted pretty high. Looking like a first-round lock at this point. So he's going to get his 5 years. And then just the odds, even if it goes pretty poorly, that he isn't just like a backup somewhere, is just very, very low. So I feel very comfortable selling this one.
Yeah, I would love to know the last time a first-round pick did not get a second contract to be at least a backup somewhere.
I'm sure I could do that.
Did Josh
pretty
Rosen
quickly.
get a second round? Get a second contract?
He did not.
I guess he got, yeah. Did he not? He got traded to the Dolphins and then didn't get a second contract at all? Okay. So I guess that would be our go-to. 2018 would be the last time.
I'm pretty sure he does insurance right now, too.
He
I
was
know he got his
business.
master's degree.
He got a business degree.
Okay.
I don't know what his master's degree is in business, I guess.
Yes, because they found his LinkedIn profile or something like that.
That's so funny.
I wonder if Anthony Richardson is going to join that club.
Live research on the field here, or on the show here. Anthony Richardson. I don't think Anthony Richardson's going to join that club. I think he's got so much, the physical talent is just, he's
That's
gonna,
where you're at?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the NFL hates that guy.
I don't know. Position quarterback.
Well, technically, the last one is Dwayne Haskins,
Rest in peace.
but that had different
So
circumstances.
Josh Rosen got a second contract?
No, Haskins was 19.
Oh,
Rosen
you're
was
right.
18.
Haskins was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
year prior to
Dude, I was
the year after Josh Rosen. So yeah, Josh Rosen is the latest one, and that is
Was Johnny the one before that?
I don't know if Paxton Lynch got
Okay,
a second.
I forgot about Paxton Lynch. Man.
Did Johnny not get it?
Memphis legend?
Yeah, I forgot Johnny didn't.
Johnny didn't, and then it would be Johnny Manziel.
Let's see if Paxton Lynch.
Dude,
I wonder if Over the Cap has former players. I bet they do. Paxton Lynch, quarterback. Load.
And yeah, that would be it. At least not to go much deeper. I'm gonna sell as well. I have the exact same take as Jack, which I'll just repeat. I think he is too talented from a football perspective, and if they continue this run in Indiana, even if it went really poorly, which I don't exactly expect at this moment, which is insane to say considering how I felt about him coming into the season, I would think he would be a backup somewhere. He also just fits the backup mold as well, which has part of it has to do with race, because that just seems to be the case.
Sure.
I think of your backup quarterbacks, unless the backup is for like Lamar Jackson, where it's Tyler Huntley. For the most part, your backup quarterbacks are white, and they just for whatever reason that's the case. I just think, I don't see it happening. I think he's playing too well. He seems like too much of a talent at this moment to not.
I think with a lot people have raved about his IQ as well, and that's like people want a backup that like is smart in that sense, and can pick up whatever the offense is doing and is ready to roll in any given moment. So
I want to say on top of that, just to clarify, that has nothing to do with race.
100%. I was thinking that when I said, I was like, that may come across poorly. But yeah, it has IQ has nothing to do with race.
We mean nothing of that here.
I will also sell, just because we named 3 quarterbacks in the last, going back to Manziel and 13?
It happens about
14?
once every 5 or so years.
Yeah, that's 3 quarterbacks in the last 12 years. So that's good odds that it's not going to happen again.
Correct.
And I think that the guys that we did talk about were like huge outliers in that Josh Rosen was just ass. Johnny Manziel had his off the field issues.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember who Paxton Lynch.
Paxton
also
Lynch,
just really bad.
I think they was just a swing and a miss. But yeah, I like it.
The next one that's up, I don't know, but maybe they are. Right now it's Zach Wilson and Trey Lance. Trevor Lawrence, a part of that draft, already got his extension. Justin Fields got one. And maybe also Mac Jones. So you have Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones. I expect Mac Jones to get another contract. I expect
100%.
Trey Lance to get one. So I think it might be Zach Wilson, and I would wonder if he is still on his rookie contract with the Miami Dolphins right
I believe Mac's already got a extension.
Mac already got one?
That's what I'm looking at. This Over the Cap has him going out through 2030.
Cool.
It is void, but like it's still
then
like
he already got one.
Yeah, he had to have gotten one. I'll check Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Trey Lance didn't get another backup chance.
Yeah.
He's already been a backup 2 spots in Dallas and Los Angeles. And so it's Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson has not got an extension. He's only got through the 5th year listed right now.
So Zach Wilson is up, which we would hate to see that as a BYU podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So we hope he gets an extension somewhere.
You think that pro day throw can get him a second contract?
Dude, what a throw that was.
It really was. Well,
Trey Lance. Wait. I may be lying. I apologize. Give me just a sec.
all right.
I might be misreading Zach Wilson. No, it does go out farther.
Okay.
It does not. I was confused. So Over the Cap, it doesn't start with their first contract. It starts with the current year.
Yeah.
And so Zach Wilson is out. It's 2025 out to 2026, and then he's got 3 void years in 2027 through 2029.
So he signed a contract.
I believe
a new
he has
contract
signed
with
a.
Miami.
Yeah.
Yes.
Heard.
Cool. So just kidding. That throw did get him a second contract. Good to know.
Good for him. So it's just Trey Lance, but
Yeah.
I imagine he'll get extended.
I think
Probably.
he may have also
And then
it's also weird. It's difficult because if a player gets cut, then the new contract is technically a second contract. It's not a continuation of their old contract.
True.
So that's why it's a little odd.
Yeah, that is a little
that
odd.
does make it tough, I guess.
Because if
Even more reason to sell this stock.
yeah,
True.
yeah, because if Mendoza gets cut and then signs to a practice squad,
Well,
or
I think we'd make it active roster.
you do verify first NFL contract. I was gonna say, what if he ends up in the UFL or something?
Yeah, NFL is key here.
All right.
Let's wrap up the show because it's been 3 hours, and also I've already peed once the show. But this is what happens when you drink McAllister's tea with lunch. You just really
I was
got
about to say, where did that come from?
Thanks to all who tuned in. It means a lot. Thanks to anyone who tuned in the chat and chimed in with input or questions. It means a lot. And thanks to anyone who's listening post live stream. Once again, it really means a lot. We greatly appreciate it. We'll be back for y'all Tuesday to recap the week of NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully my Commanders pull off a stunner and Arrowhead, and I can be happy for once. I doubt it, though. Peace.
See ya.